Hey, good morning, folks. Welcome to Gfinity Spring Masters #1. I am Sir Scoots. I am once again joined by Duncan and Richard. How you guys doing this morning?
Fresh as a daisy,
Fresh as a daisy. I mean, unfortunately, we got sent home earlier than we wanted to last night. There were technical issues, obviously, in the venue.
Just a few.
Just a few. And again, like, I think one of the cool things about Gfinity is they let us be real, you know. And I talked to Martin, one of the big bosses, this morning. I go, you know, I'm going to have to light you up a little bit. You know, I can't sugarcoat this. Yesterday was not good. Not good for them, not good for fans. Obviously, we get paid to sit and talk about Counter-Strike. We didn't get to do that.
We do still get paid, though.
Yeah, we still get paid. Don't worry. We get our full money.
All right with it.
Yeah, there's no technical difficulties when it comes to the bank.
Yeah.
That would suck.
Okay. It's just unfortunate, right? Obviously, like, the crew here was just devastated. They know that Gfinity 3 was rough, and they needed to come out swinging and swinging well, and it just did not happen. So basically what they've told us is they kind of figured out that the scary part about it, and again, to throw them under the bus a little bit, they think they fixed it. It's a network issue. They swapped out equipment, bad routers, bad routing, and they fixed all that last night. It seems like those matches ended fine. But again, like, knock on wood, hopefully today goes smooth and we just see good Counter-Strike. But again, like, this is the kind of stuff that they have to fix.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, it's fair enough to say, oh, it's a learning curve and everything. But what did we talk about right at the top of the show? And that is that, you know, it's very important this event succeeds because we want to be able to say the best of 3 format works. We need more events with the best of 3 format. If we start getting into delay territory and all the other events get to stand back and say, well, that's why we do best of 1, you know, that's going to harm the competitive scene. So there's a lot at stake here. We all want the GSL format, I think, you know, the people that appreciate what the best of 3 series does. So hopefully, you know, but fingers and toes crossed, it goes a lot better today.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I think the community as well have been, you know, obviously the Counter-Strike community is never going to be entirely reasonable. But, you know, they've been fairly reasonable so far. You know, it's the 2 events now, back to back. So we've got to have a good, smooth day today.
Yeah, you just can't sugarcoat it, right?
Yeah.
Not good.
You know, and I know Gfinity won it. For anyone who's like watching out there who thinks that, you know, that Gfinity are just rolling around in a big pile of money out back, you know, the guys who are running this are pretty, you know, devastated with the way day one's gone. You know, it does hurt them. They even did read through Reddit, which, you know, if you're going to subject yourself to that torture.
Danger.
So rather than rolling around in money, it's more like that Woody Harrelson gif where they're just crying with the 100 of us. Oh, it's going so badly. I've got so much money as well.
So, again, not to harp on it, but again, bad day yesterday. Hopefully, good recovery today. We'll see.
I can feel a better day coming today.
Yeah. I mean, they did a lot of testing and all that, so we'll see. You know, knock on wood. So let's get right into it. Let's not delay this anymore. Let's talk about, again, bring you up to speed. We are at the Masters for Spring for Gfinity, and it's #1. They do one in 2 more months. We'll be back here in May. And grand total of 4 Masters with a final at the end for not only Counter-Strike, but several different games. But obviously, we only care about Counter-Strike. So we've got 2 groups here. Let's go ahead and look at the groups first. He just changed my graphic, but let's look at the overall groups first and just kind of walk through who's here. Hang on, someone's. All right. Well, if
I'll just tell you anyway.
We'll just go.
Yeah, we'll just do this. Because obviously there was some games last night that did get played.
Yeah, we did play 2 matches last night. So why don't you walk us through the first one?
Well, yesterday we had NIP played against Gamers 2. Gamers 2, formerly ESC. Like I said, this was actually a rematch of a group stage game that happened at DreamHack Winter. And NIP prevailed 2-0. Overall, the score said it was pretty easy. There was a couple of rounds where maybe there was problems for it, but in the end, they got through it fairly fine. Best of 3, they won the 2 maps, that's fine. Kind of ignore the actual group aspect here, because really it's just a double elimination bracket. It doesn't matter round difference, for example. That's not a problem. So NIP is essentially in the winner's game, and whoever wins that match is already through to the playoffs. So elsewhere in the same group, we'll have Envy play Orbit, and then that will decide who's going to play NIP, and the loser of that will decide. Oh no,
wait,
that's
this
the
is
wrong
wrong.
group.
This is
This
is incorrect.
That's incorrect.
Envious plays Property.
Property. Okay, so Envious will play Property, which is the other game in the other part of the upper bracket. Winner of that plays NIP. Loser plays Gamers 2, and all you have to remember about this format, if you've never seen it before, is if you win 2 series, you're through.
You're through.
If you lose 2, you're out. So whoever plays Gamers 2, both of them will have lost one. Whoever loses, that's out already. And then there'll be one last match for whoever loses the upper bracket final and whoever wins the lower bracket final. So we've got 3 games to play.
Gotcha. Okay, and let's take a look at Group B. We'll catch up on that. And again, we did play one match of Group B.
Well, yeah, the Group B game last night was obviously Virtus Pro versus Infused. A bit more of a struggle than Virtus Pro would have liked. 16-10, 16-10. And, you know, Taz came into the hotel quite late last night. We were still sat down there, you know, getting ready to go to bed. We wanted to hang around, show a bit of simpatico with the players, be there to greet them as they were finishing the game. And Taz came in and he was like, wow, those UK players are really strong, man. Like, they're really, really good. And he did actually say that. I couldn't tell if he was joking or not. But it was a bit more of an uphill struggle than they would have liked against Infused. And, you know, Virtus Pro possibly already on tilt. Or maybe he's telling the truth and Infused have got a fighting chance in the group. But
yeah, because those were 16-10, 16-10.
So competitive matches, but both of them. So.
Yeah. And again, here's how it breaks down. Obviously, as Duncan said, Virtus Pro now sits at the top. They got to win one more. This is accurate. Cloud9 will be playing Team Orbit. That is our first match of the day on the main stage. But again, there's 2 streams. Gfinity TV 1, or Gfinity TV is what we're the main channel, and then Gfinity 2 will bring you all of the challenger stage matches. Yeah. So at home, you can stream it, you can do whatever. Both these matches will happen at roughly the same time, you know, based on the players. So there's that. Again, whoever loses plays Infused, whoever wins plays Virtus Pro, and they go forward. So let's go ahead and talk about, we have our picks and bans and all that good stuff. League of Legends, picks and bans, vetoes and bans. So why don't you walk us through, let's go ahead and start with the Envious match and walk us through the map.
Envious, they banned, let me see, they banned Mirage.
Okay.
Which, yeah, they play it a bit, but not a specialty of theirs or anything. And Property banned Cobblestone, just outright, which actually they've played a bit of. And then we had Envy banned Nuke. They, again, historically don't play that map. And then we had Property ban Overpass. And so what that left us with was Envy actually picked Cash, but that'll be map 2. Property picked Dust 2 as the first map, and the Decider's Inferno. Now, the first thing I have to say when I see these 3 maps is that that's like the 3 best maps of Envious. So if there is a chance for an upset, that's not favoring them initially. With that said, of the maps that they've picked, it's interesting that it's actually Property that picked Dust 2. Dust 2 is famously a really good map if you have strong aimers and you want an upset, because you can play more mixed team style on it. So even though Envious is the best Dust 2 team, we've seen them be upset on it in the past, and that's because it's not a map that you can really dominate in the way you could like Inferno. If you're the best Inferno team, you might just almost never lose Inferno. Even the best Dust 2 team, like Envious, can lose on it. Cash, now that's a bit of a harder ask for Property because that is a very tactical map. That's a map where you can win both sides depending on how strong you are. Like a really good team like Envious can really make it difficult there. So the problem on this is I actually feel like my heart, the intuition says that I think Property can win a map here. Like, I think they could win Dust 2. If they got to Inferno, they could maybe cause problems. But the pure analysis, when I look at the fact that Envious is one of the best teams in the world, this is their 3 best maps, I have to say the analysis tells me it's going to be a 2-0 Envious, even though I think, like I said, Property have the wild card with JW, but on paper, I have to say Envious because I think they're favourites on all 3 maps.
I mean, yeah, I concur with that. You know what Duncan's saying there. But what I think is interesting is right at the top of the day, if you've got both of these teams, both of these games that we've got going on, are the potential banana skins. You know, Property have got a very good side on paper. Yeah. And we know they've come together as a mix. You know, they throw JW in there as a wild card, especially on Dust 2. I think anything can happen. Envious, they were around, you know, they were up, not late last night, but they were talking about communication within the team and trying to fix a few problems. They're very cognizant of the fact that they have to really put in a good showing at this tournament. You know, they're struggling for confidence at the moment. I don't know why, but I think they're feeling they're getting left behind a little bit by Nip and by Fnatic, and they want to get back to that #1 spot. So this is a tough game for them to start the day. This will set the tone, I think, for their tournament. If they labour at this, then you know they're really going to struggle when they come up against the big boys. Yep. So Property, absolutely nothing to lose. And
then just a side piece of trivia: in Poland at the last Masters, these 2 maps are the 2 maps that Nip beat Envious on.
Yeah. Again, they were favoured to win there.
Yeah.
And the key thing to know about this Property team, just quickly, is that even though this isn't a famous team, and these players now won't be that famous in some aspects of CSGO, they all have tenure, and some of them are skilled players in Sweden. People like Twist was in LGB, JW obviously is a Fnatic now, Schneider wasn't the old Fnatic that won that tournament. All of them have some level of experience, and so some of these names might have been the 5th to join Nip now. Like these are potentially high caliber players.
Reportedly turned Nip down.
Yeah.
I mean, that's you know, so he was offered. That's how highly he's rated.
Yeah.
You know, we know about Schneider, of course, as well. You know, great fragger. So these are no joke.
Game. Yeah, this is a game basically where you can't just look at the world rankings and go, right, well, number 2 beats anyone. No, the skill-wise, it'll actually be reasonably close. It's the fact that we're hoping the pedigree and the experience of Envy, that's what should win them all those maps that they're favored on.
Okay, so let's move to our Cloud9 Orbit match and talk about those maps.
Okay, so the maps are going to be Cache, Inferno, and Cobblestone.
Okay.
Now, with how that breaks down,
Yep.
again, I'm looking at that from the Cloud9 point of view, and that's a good draw for them. Like Cache and Inferno, they tell you are their 2 best maps. So if they're the favorite team, they've got what they want out of that. Now, if it goes to Cobblestone 3rd map, I'm not so sure they can be that confident there. In terms of Orbit, that's the thing as well, though. This is actually, both of these draws have come up pretty well, actually. I think both these teams have a similar shared map pool, because I think actually Orbit want to play Cache. Like, that's a scenario they're entirely open to playing that. That was their pick, but again, that's C9's favorite also. So this is another, what's funny is I'm going to go with the same scenario for both. I actually feel like in C9's case, they've got more of a chance of getting upset. But again, these are their best maps. And if they're going to retain any sort of tenure as like a top 10 team, that sort of realm, I feel like they should win the series. But I actually think this is the one where there's a real potential upset going to happen here, because they can't know much about Orbit. They can't have much. There's not many LAN results to see. You can watch the online games, but they're very different from seeing the LAN results.
And of course, there's the factor that they prepped for Titan, which we know about. You know, they talked about it last night in the hotel lobby with us. The Cloud9 aren't 100% confident coming into this, which, you know,
exactly.
It tells its own story, that fact that they haven't been able to prepare for Orbit. I think if Orbit and Property was switched around, I think C9 are going out in the groups again, frankly. So this isn't an easy game for them by any stretch of the imagination. And again, it's going to set the tone for their whole tournament.
And if you want like kind of a star player to watch for Orbit, the guy to look at is Pyth. Because he's a guy where early on he was touted as someone where people said, like, talent-wise, maybe he's going to be in a Fnatic one day, this sort of a level. He's always been put together as that sort of name. So this is the time to do it. If you're in an underdog team where you've got nothing to prove, you could potentially shock the world.
And forgive me because I'm old and I have Alzheimer's, but Jumpy jumps out to me as a name I remember.
Used to be in 1.6,
right? Yeah, like Meet Your Makers, a couple other teams, right?
Yeah.
So obviously,
I'm really
pedigree in his own
right.
right.
He's going to do in CS:GO, because obviously we've seen a lot of 1.6 people kind of try and transition a little bit late. We've seen God B, you know, he's trying to go, what's a Molotov, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
We're seeing all of these moments. I'm really intrigued to see how he's going to do, and whether that 1.6 aim and pedigree will carry him through in what I think is going to be, you know, a big challenge for him coming into a tournament of this stature.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. That's going to do it for us. Again, 2 matches happening right now on Gfinity TV and Gfinity TV 2, so definitely check those out. But we right now are going to throw to our main stage for that Orbit Cloud9 match, and it's going to be Semler and Metas bringing you the action. Take it away, guys.
All right, thank you, Scoots, and thank you guys for that that enlivening analysis to start the day here already, guys. I feel like we're off to a pretty solid start. Everybody's here. The crowd is filling up as well here at the venue, so it's a perfect place to be on a fine Saturday.
Yeah, it's a fantastic venue to actually be at. And, you know, I was watching the guys in the analyst desk, Duncan and also Richard, talking about this before, that there is a feeling about DreamHack to this, the Dream Arena, and the whole, you know, atmosphere of the place. Very cinematic. It's a very intimate feeling as well. It's very dark and kind of, I don't know, there's the kind of mysterious quality about it.
That heavy atmosphere, right? You know, big things are about to happen all of a sudden. You don't want to disturb it. I mean, this is definitely, I mean, already with the booths, with also the projector. I love the fact that, you know, these are cinemas and they have that projector. They're just using that straight up onto the big screen to get the matches going. So it's a perfect viewing experience here. So really now we just need the games, because last night, you know, as Scoots pointed out, you know, it was a bit bumpy. We had some delays here and there. You know, of course, I know you guys have been trained to love delays now, you know, after last week, but, you know, it's too much of a good thing, right, Metas? So now we actually have the CS to get into, and I think that's what we're all looking forward to. But the teams are ready, or should be, so we should be getting into this game, this first map on Cache. So now we got the analyst's view on things, but what do you think of this map series that we have between these two teams?
It's an interesting one. I've seen a lot of Orbit over the last few weeks, casting them online. And I will pick up on something the analyst said, which I agree with, which is Pyth is certainly a player to watch out for. But I feel that Jumpy, and they did touch on this, but Jumpy's pulled off, since I've casted him, like 6 to 10 epic clutches, like 1v3s, 1v4 kind of clutches. This is a guy, if he's on form, he will absolutely obliterate a team. So I'm really interested to see which Jumpy shows up, and that's more indicative of actually the team as a whole. Orbit are very inconsistent.
Yeah, that's the main thing. But then I was almost thinking, you know, jokingly a little bit, you know, that Cloud9, they might be used to this style as well, because they're coming from North America, and in North America they're always talking about, at least, you know, for the past year or so, it's always been this kind of scrimmy atmosphere there. And when you say scrimmy, it's more aggression, It's more just kind of like not necessarily thought out plays. We're just going to try and out aim you. We're going to run at you, run at your face, get onto that bomb site, and kill you all, right? And so Cloud9, that may actually be something that they can get familiar with fairly quickly, you know, that they didn't get too influenced by the European teams. Now they may have something they'll feel a little bit more in their element.
Yep, so as you can see, ladies and gents, I think we're ready for a restart.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the restart coming in. It looks like Cloud9 won that knife round, so...
Let's say it's not every day you see round 2.
Yeah, right.
To start off with.
Hey, let's all get M4s and everything too, right? Everybody's got money. It's all good. And a negative, you know, Corey, bot Corey, looking out. See, it's misspelled though, you know. Semphis, you spell Corey with a K. Come on. CS, get it right.
So going on to Cache overall as a map.
Yeah.
First of all, obviously we're going to be waiting for knife round, I believe, or have they already done that? Well,
knife round is sorted. It looks like Cloud9 will be starting off on the defense here on the CT side.
Got you. So C9 on CT side, what are you feeling here? What kind of defense are we going to be looking to see? Like, how many rounds are they going to be looking for?
I'm looking like, well, this is definitely a 10-5 map as far as CT side is concerned, so you should expect to pick up around 10 rounds on your defense. But right now, I'm thinking this is going to be a bit more of a brawl, because they just had a couple of flashes. One of them on Sean Gares has been used, but then the rest of them have gone Kevlar. So they're expecting to get into a run-and-gun fight here with the T side.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is you can see the Orbit. They're kind of playing the bait and switch. They've gone towards A, they've thrown flashes, they've thrown smokes, but they're actually pushing on B. Semphis has spotted 2 players, but Maxi's there to shut him down with a quick-fire headshot, and that should be the bomb planted as well.
A very clever play here by Jumpy as well. He's getting so much information listening. He knows that there's going to be players in vents. Huit then manages to take 1, but 4 kills just like that. Nothing in Shazam, Shroud lending a hand, and they just completely wipe out Orbit. It felt like Orbit had everything going their way.
It really did. I thought, is it going to be 1-0 to Orbit? They're going to be buying up weapons. We're going to start to see Cloud9 in a bit of a pickle. But no, Cloud9 just bouncing back the vengeance, 4 frags in a row. And they finished the round actually quite comfortably after what looked like it was going to be a steamroll against them.
What looked like, yeah, exactly. Like it was a situation that definitely favored Orbit. They got onto that site. Granted, they weren't able to necessarily get into the best afterplan positions, but it felt like they had the information and that they should have been able to at least get a couple more frags out in mid, at least shut down that vent push. But it just looks like Cloud9, they landed the headshots, and at the end of the day, that's what makes the difference in this case. So now Orbit, nothing crazy coming out of them here, of course, because they got that bomb plant. So they have a bit of money looking towards that 3rd round. So it's going to be pistols here for them. In the meantime, Cloud9 have jumped straight up to actually straight up to rifles across the board. So this is the kind of catch-all strat. If there's something crazy like a Tech 9 armor buy that comes out of Orbit, they'll be prepared with the FAMAS, but otherwise, they'll be able to hold on to these guns for the next round in the buy round, and it's not going to be a big problem or a big investment for Cloud9. So bit of a halfway, catch-all strategy coming out here from the North Americans.
Shazam is going to break the deadlock onto Maxi, expecting a real clear-cut round, but actually Huitin comes back and gets himself one. Semphis has to back away from mid. He is being rushed on, spraying through the smoke, still not connected to DOS, but they have got the 2nd kill. And strangely enough, Orbit, looking like it was going to be easy for Cloud9, they've got the man advantage.
And they've got 2 rifles to work with as well. Nothing nearly walks right into him, man. Tries to pre-fire that angle in case he was going to get chased there, but Jumpy nearly takes out Nothing. Way too close here in this round so far. Orbit are doing a fantastic job. 2 kills already. I mean, this is great economic damage. I was talking about stepping up and getting that investment going for Cloud9 and the rifles. They're certainly paying for it now.
Another 1-for-1 trade there. As Checkers is being pushed, Sean Gares will be locking that one down. Here comes the 2nd player. Pyth comes in, gets the headshot, and they should be able to get this bomb planted once again here, Semla. And considering the Orbit just upgraded pistols, this is a phenomenal round already from them. And they get it.
And they pick it up. This is what we're talking about, that aggressive play. But, I mean, we're talking about how I think that Orbit are going to be relying on more of like the scrimmy, like aggressive, get in your face kind of play where they're just going to try and catch Cloud9 out. And they certainly have, but also they haven't like just run in blindly either. Just in the pistol round, right? They saw, okay, there's a stack on A. What did they do? They didn't just run into the blender. They took their time and set up on B. Granted, that didn't go their way, but still it's showing that, Orbit are still able to change it up a little bit. And in a round like this where they just run and gun the players down on Cloud9's side, I think Cloud9, they might be a little shaken after that 2nd round.
Yeah, a bit shell-shocked there. A real mixed bag of buys here. You've got the MP9, you've got a few other 5.7s, P250, CZ thrown in the mix. Orbit are going to be getting that first frag once again. They've been great at picking so far on this map. And if this continues, Cloud9 will find themselves in all sorts of bother.
And I'm liking what they're going for here as well, but it's going to be just the double push-up on boost together, timed it out well. So in case there is some kind of long-range rifle going on over in mid, they're going to be able to take it out fairly quickly. Semphis has got that scout, but there's the flash. Jumpy completely blinded, so a little bit off on the timing there. But the biggest thing that we have to point out here is that Nothing...
That's a Zeus.
That's a Zeus. Is it going to work?
Just chilling in vent as well. So it is a pretty good spot to take it because you can easily just react and fire that off. But very odd. I assume you just accidentally bought one. I can't say that's a strat that you'd expect to see from any top-level teams. And 36 seconds remaining. Pyth picks up the second frag of the round. A couple of them very low on HP, so they do need to be careful. And Semphis with that scout tries his best from Cart to make the most of that position, but he gets taken out. And that's a clean sweep almost for Orbit. They'll get the bomb down, and they're going to win this round.
And they're going to have to back off here, Cloud9. They've just taken too much damage. They've invested in this round as well. I mean, an MP9 bought up on Songers, which is a bit of a surprising buy because I'm sure, sure, okay, they buffed, armor pen for SMGs, but it's not every day you're going to see an MP9 get picked up like this, versus Kevlar helmet. So I'm not sure if that's a misbuy on Gears' part or what, but he's just going to have to hold on to that now. At this point, Cloud9, they can't afford to really give anything away for free. I have to say, though, that Orbit did do a fairly good job. You can see they meticulously just took over mid, flashed into short. They were checking all the angles, making sure that nobody was able to lurk there for Cloud9's side. And then when it came down to it, they caught Shroud out in like the one position that's pretty much the worst place for him to be because he's boosted up there. And it's great if they're going to come out through Squeak Door, come out through main. That's where you want to be, right? Because you're going to be able to get that free frag. But if they come up short, you're screwed. You're out in the open, and they can spot you from a mile away. So Shroud tried to make the best of it, but Orbit ended up making the right decision and going on the right side there.
So once again, a couple weapons were saved. P250s picked up as well for Cloud9. They're going to be actually taking 2 players towards sandbags in mid, which has been an area that Orbit have tried to exploit time and time again, so you can understand the thought process behind that one. Playing very passively are both teams. Orbit so far haven't really rushed the site. This is something that I was expecting to see a lot more from them, and you called this before as well. The first buy up from Cloud9 probably to try and counteract that potential Tech9 rush, but Orbit have played very disciplined so far in this game.
They certainly have. They are pacing themselves very well here, and what I do like to see here in this round as well is they realize that there's going to be pistols on Cloud9's side. They have the one lurker, but the rest of Orbit are very close together, so that if one of their guys gets caught off guard by a close-range P250, something that's unavoidable sometimes, the rest of his teammates are going to be there to return that frag immediately, and Cloud9 won't be able to capitalize on that by picking up a free rifle. So, like we're saying, Sean, he's right around the corner here with this CZ. This could be golden, however, Orbit have not checked this angle.
Now going to be pushing in, they do get it. They're just checking around the corner, nothing brings out his Zeus, but can't get on the first time of asking. Does pick up the pieces on the second time, adds another kill to that repertoire. Now it's on to a 1v2, Shroud with it all to do with just a P250. Good news for him, he's on 100% of HP, but Maxi is lurking, checking. Wow. Beautiful one click. He nearly gets the second as well. The bomb has been planted, and we're down to a one-on-one as a grenade lands on his forehead.
That was unreal. The reaction from Shroud. He just clicked. That's like some forest level stuff. Just snap onto the head in one click. Okay, Shroud. I'm glad to see that Shroud is on point right now, at least. I mean, he's tied for frags with nothing, who's sitting on 4 as well. So here it is now, though. The big round. This is the make or break moment pretty much for Cloud9. They need to stop Orbit at 3. As I said at the beginning of this map, this is pretty much like a 10-5 map. And for you to be giving up an entry frag on such an important round like this, that is a real problem here for Cloud9.
That'd be so frustrating. They've been waiting so long to get some assault rifles to try and stabilize this. And as soon as they do, Maxi with a comfortable flick shot there onto mid, gets a second one as well on Shroud. This is not looking too good for Cloud9, I've got to say. And historically, they generally don't do too great at LAN.
Yeah, that is a problem, right? I mean, hell, going into it, they're talking about, yeah, let's make it out of the group. We're going to make it out of the group this time, right? If you have that mentality, where you're doubting yourself even before the tournament even starts, it's just that's a real rough situation to find yourself in. But they're making a correct call right now, and I'm really liking this. Cloud9, they know that they're 2 guys behind, so they're gambling, and they're going to just stack up on one side. If Orbit decide to go B, it's not the end of the world because then they can hold on to their rifles. But if they come into A, this is the best shot that Cloud9 have at holding off a push. But here it is. It's all going to be nothing now. His time to shine.
Seconds on the time. It's Shazam that does get that first frag right here near the death of this round, but they've pretty much opened up B completely. Orbit just strolling in. They're going to get another bomb plant, that is for sure. Can Cloud9 retake this site? It's going to be very difficult. They're a man down. They don't have any grenades to play with other than just the flash and the HE.
Yeah, like, if they can get a kill within the next couple of seconds, I'm like, yes, great, but that's the thing. Nothing was supposed to be getting that frag. If nothing had picked up a frag there and turned it into a 3-on-3, Cloud9 would have committed to that retake. But right now, they're making the right call. This is what they have to do. They realize now, if they can keep 3 guys alive, it means that they'll be able to drop 2 guns, and it's not going to completely wreck their economy. So if they lose one, however, that's when it gets a little iffy. Somebody's going to be up on a CZ armor instead of actually having a rifle to work with.
Scary thing is, though, they did buy up, and they'd had a lot of good feelings about that round. Like, come on, boys, let's start to bring this one back. And then suddenly you're right on the back foot once again. So even if they do drop weapons, they're going to have to start converting that into rounds.
Exactly. That's the point. And the last round really, it's also a timing issue, right? Maxi gets there just as the smoke goes off, but he gets there exactly. But like that split second before is enough for him to spot out the man pushing close mid, right? If that smoke goes off a split second earlier, then perhaps Cloud9 are able to get that mid control because Maxi would then be blind. So just unfortunate turn of events there for Cloud9, but a very quick push coming in this time around. There's the Molotovs as well. That's going to force them back, and that's what's going on here now. Cloud9 are able to take control of mid with the gear. They finally had some money for some Molotovs, and that clearly made the difference. Cloud9 are a team that really relies on their nades heavily.
One negative I will say about Team Orbit over the last few weeks is they can be quite predictable as a team, especially on T side. So they've jumped up a bunch of times. They've tried to make big plays happen. Maxi now peeking onto main. The smoke comes over and the flashbang as well. Looks like they're holding off just for now, Orbit. 1 minute on the timer. This is fairly standard from their perspective. They want to feel things out, maybe get a pick if they can, throw down a couple Molotovs. They've used a lot of grenades in this exchange, and it's going to be Nothing who gets the second and the third frags. He's got himself a quad. He could very well get this ace. Jumpy, the last remaining player, fantastic at clutching. But Nothing gets it. He gets the ace all by himself.
There you go. Opening frag, controlling mid, and then just perfect play from Sky. It's okay. Cloud9, it seems like they're starting to put the pieces together here. They're starting to wake up a little bit. Shroud, Nothing, but I mean, Nothing as well is kind of the point man that you really need him to be stepping up his game for Cloud9. They heavily rely on him. In the end, he has to be like that man who's going to bring the fragging power. So him and Shroud, that combination, Nothing showing some strong shape already early on here is big. And I thought for a second there was going to be one of the quicker rounds, but it looks like instead it's going to be a smoke round here from Orbit. So they're trying to change up the pace as well. Now they're just going to go for an execute, something clean, controlled, something that they've practiced a lot. And when you get into a tough situation, this is the kind of strategy that you want to turn back to.
Exactly. Seemingly what's on their mind as well. Shazam trying to shoot through the flashbang and the smoke onto Squeaky, but Pyth is going to go through on his own. Shroud is surely going to play a huge part in this round. No, he gets taken down from Pyth. Was in the perfect position to strike and maybe get a double. And now it's Shazam trying to shoot across. He gets the first one on towards Pyth. There's Rock, who will get the bomb down with the help of Jumpy. And it's actually Orbit who are coming out ahead here. After the plant, they get themselves another 2 frags. It's all on Shazam. They know where he is, but he does get the first one. He's more than likely just going to try and get exit frags here. There's no way he can hope to actually clutch this round.
Oh, the problem here is that now he's pinned down. They know exactly where he is, and they'll throw people away just to get that op off of him. So Shazam pretty much getting caught in the worst place possible. But, excuse me, at the end of the day, I think that was actually a bit of a mistake on Shroud's part. I would have liked to have seen him play that side a bit like Happy does from Envy, where he gets up in the NBK corner, he gets up in that corner behind quad boxes, and he just waits for you to come through that smoke. Had he been in that position, you could see that he was trying to turn around and cover like a 90-degree angle instead of just looking dead ahead and waiting, holding a straight line. So unfortunately, Shroud, he reacted. You saw him. He nearly took that guy out, but because he dies without at least getting a 1-for-1, it's so difficult for Cloud9 afterwards to come back in and get a retake.
Yeah, I felt like that little play there was kind of the fulcrum of that round. If he gets the frags, it's probably Cloud9 taking the round. He dies, and, well, Orbit just overrun it without any real problems.
And the good smokes as well to block off short, so Shazam can't have an impact with that AWP. I mean, that was just a very clean, that's kind of what you expect to see, you know, from a smoke round like that. Just very clean, went according to plan for Orbit, and they are now sitting on 5 rounds, which is exactly where they need to be. If they can get past this point now, it's all icing on the cake.
Of course, that's going to be in the minds of Cloud9 as well. They're going to be thinking, this is already tough, guys. We've got to try and pull this one back. So that adds stress to them. It adds pressure on their shoulders. And I agree with the analyst test that as well, that the winner of this is more than likely going to go through to the next stages. This is a real big game right now for Cloud9. Yeah, that's
how close it is, really. I mean, between the two of these teams. There you go, though. Nothing. He drops the bomb carrier as well. That's big. And that opens it up for Stemvis. Stemvis had that AWP, but Pyth from Squeakdoor is going to pick him off. And look at Pyth now. He's just checking. He wants to make sure, makes perfectly sure. And they are not even going to check. I mean, they walk straight up into Nothing's arms. And then Shroud, yeah, guess what? He is there. And somehow Cloud9 come out ahead in a pistol force round. That blows my mind.
Where was this Cloud9 before? They just suddenly turn it on, explode. They need more of that, much more of that. They can get a full buy up. They got an AWP onto Shazam. On the flip side, looking at Orbit's economy, not necessarily fantastic. They got themselves 4 AKs and 1 Tech 9. So this is definitely enough weaponry to win around with, that's for sure.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, they have some nades as well to work with. It looks like they want to take the attention over to the B side. Shazam, that timing nearly gets caught out. Roke not going to challenge again once that smoke goes up, so he needs to be a little bit careful. I don't think that this is a bad situation for Orbit to be in. Even if they're going for force buys like this is perfectly fine for them because they, like I said, they're sitting on 5 rounds. They have plenty more opportunities to get higher than that as well. Because Cloud9 have not got the buffer. So if Orbit even win 1 round within the next 2, they could just start running away with this half and come out ahead.
Roke very fortunate not to feel the full force to Shazam, who keeps peeking and he gets punished, really. I mean, they've got the man advantage. He knows he's tagged the second play. He's got information. Why are you continuing to peek?
Where is his teammate with the flash? Where is his teammate with the smoke? Some way to get out of there. Now Semphis gets caught pushing. Jean-Guerre is on the site, however, is going to be able to stop that. Very quick rotation coming out from Cloud9 to back and plug that hole up that, well, Shazam left. But Cloud9 now, that's the read that's coming in from Orbit as well. Look at this. The reaction from them is, okay, wait, they did go for a very fast rotation. Now let's go ahead and just go the other way, just like in the pistol.
Very nicely done by Orbit. 25 seconds, more than enough time to get that bomb planted. Nothing, and Shroud have sensed this one. The bomb is going down. That's about to be confirmed for them. And it's going to be nothing taking point. He's on forklift. Pyth is going to get the upper hand onto Shroud. It's all on nothing. He's opened up with 2 beautiful shots there on towards back boxes. Roke's all that remains. He's on 17 HP. Pretty much the next bullet wins this round. He's trying to play this one out. He misses, and nothing gets the kill and the defuse. Amazing play from Cloud9 and nothing in particular.
Godlike play from nothing right there. That was incredible. He is at 14, 2, and 4 right now, but it's not every day that you see spray control like that. Granted, they were a little lined up, but still, for him to be able to just hold it, lock it in, and get to those 2 kills on that A site, just huge right now. Nothing is practically the only reason Cloud9 are in this, because that was off of the back. You know, thankfully, nothing is there to step up and save that day, because the beginning of that round, I mean, Shazam just repeaking. That's the real problem that Cloud9, they gave away a lot at the beginning. So, and Semphis getting picked off mid. I mean, they just had to come from so far behind there, Cloud9. So, godlike play from nothing to put them back into this.
And there we go. The man himself once again steps up, gets 2 quick fire frags. This is an eco rush in from Orbit. They do actually have a couple of armors in there as well with grenades, so not a full eco. But you would expect Cloud9 to fairly cleanly mop this one up. And it was nothing, if memory serves me correctly, that got the ace previously as well, right, on main. So he's really been performing outstanding for the North American squad. Shazam picks up the pieces as expected, but Orbit got a plant. They'll be pretty happy with that round overall.
They got a plant and 2 kills. That's great work as far as they're concerned. Just the trade there, minimal investment on their side as well. Not a lot of Tech 9s bought up, you know, P250s. I mean, that's a small investment. When you invest $300 in a round and the other guy has got, you know, he's dropped, you know, 5,100, 5,400, I mean, you get that kill, you're pretty happy, right? So Cloud9, this bank, this is what we're talking about right now. For them to be able to have an impact throughout the rest of this half, they need to build a buffer. But if Orbit can keep getting eco rounds in like that, where they're killing 2 and getting a bomb plant, Cloud9 are never going to get the bank to be able to sit back and breathe a little bit here. It's always going to be pressure on Cloud9's side. A little bit of an off angle there. Actually, nothing manages to clean up both kills, and that was a little bit of a timing issue there between the Orbit players.
Well, mad props to nothing for picking up the mistakes there, picking up the slack, and again is going to give Cloud9 the certain advantage, as it looks like Orbit are trying to push themselves in on towards A. Cloud9 have sussed this one out, but a grenade lands to the forehead of Shroud, and he has been knocked 6 foot under. Momentarily silenced, bomb gets planted on A. Once again, Orbit will be fairly comfortable with this position, because really, again, the pressure is on Cloud9, and they have to retake this bomb as well.
Exactly, but there's a great headshot. Still, Huitan does manage to take out Shazam, though, so only a man advantage here, but they're just trading effectively. Cloud9 walking their way forward. Doesn't matter how much this is going to cost, although they do take that fight, and that opens it up. Jumpy now, looking for the angle, trying to get it just right. He spots out the man, and Semphis is now on the hunt. But this is perfect play here by Jumpy. He's playing the clock so well. This bomb is going to tick down, and there it is. Peek and makes it easy. Jumpy, perfect play in that scenario. A quad kill for him in the round, but more importantly, just turning it into a 1v1 situation. The only way he was going to win that is if he managed to kill one of the remaining Cloud9 members and turn it into that 1v1.
This goes back to what I said before. We started to jump into the action that Jumpy is a player to watch for me. In these clutch situations, in these tense situations where you have to use your brain more than aim, he is always on point. He is always somebody that you can rely on. And there you go again. I think he finished with 3 or 4 frags and a 1v2 or something like that. Guy is phenomenal in those situations.
That's really clean, really clean. And Cloud9 tried to do the best that they could. I mean, up until that point, they were trading 1 for 1. And if you have the man advantage, that's fine, right? But the remaining 2 members, it looked like they wanted to split around the box and try and catch Jumpy out that way with the flank. It's just the timing wasn't there. Shroud9 still showing that he has magnificent aim with that 5-7, picks up a great headshot onto Maxi. But again, Orbit are playing this anti-eco fairly well, stacking up together to make sure that a revenge frag will happen. If they lose 1, you're not going to get 2.
You can see that on the screen. Envious have won the first map 16-11 over Team Property. A lot of people would have expected that. He has to walk that first map fairly comfortably. Obviously, that is the best of 3 as well, so it's not over just yet. As you can see, Cloud9 trying to dig in deep here. Stemfist probably should have felt that he could have got that kill, but he gets knocked down regardless. And again, Team Orbit, you can see how spread out they are across the map. I mean, you got a player on B, you got a couple on mid, you got Roku still on main. They can pretty much go wherever they want. The only downside is for them, they've got 30 seconds to play with, so they can't take too much longer to make a decision.
Exactly. But you can start to see that decision come through now, taking over mid, and it's going to be the Vents play. But this is a problem. This is actually going to be a rough situation for Orbit because they're walking into the best defended place on this map right now for Cloud9. Shongares, Shazam holding that angle, and Shazam picks up the first kill onto Pyth. However, Shazam is going to be under heavy pressure here, and the mad spray comes in. 9 seconds left on the clock, and they're going to be able to get the plant.
Absolutely are. Roke was tagged down heavily from nothing, but he's only got 41 HP himself. He's got no grenades. This is going to be a tall order to ask from him. He's going to have to get the first pick. There we go. He is a man on fire right now, so... Can't sell that. Oh, I was going to say, maybe. And then the anticlimactic AWP shot comes in from Jumpy. So Orbit move on to 7-5 in the lead. And look at the economy from Cloud9. And that is not too good for them at all.
Oh, going for a force in that scenario. And that's a pressure call as well that's being made right there. If you decide to force up early, that... You're going for a trade, right? You're like, we're going to risk it big to stop the bleeding now, but if you mess up, it turns, the bleeding, it was maybe a trickle, turns into a hemorrhage, and then all of a sudden you're turning it into this, where Orbit are pretty much guaranteed now to come out ahead in this half on their T-side of cash. So Orbit is really impressing me with their play right now. Cloud9 are the ones who are certainly struggling.
Surely the question now is how much ahead do they come? Oh, dearie me, Maxi gets the upper hand onto Sean Gares, who was almost face-planting one another.
Looks like he had it as well there, Sean. So
yeah, it definitely did.
Bit of a twitch.
Yeah, just at the end there, letting him down. And again, you can see Orbit, they're not getting carried away with that opening frag, and that's what I really like about them. They're very disciplined today. This is something that over the last, I would say, month to 2 months when I've been watching Orbit, they've sometimes let themselves down. They get a pick or two, and then they just go kind of headless chicken mode. I'm really liking this from the Tech 9 fight in mid. Finally, Maxi will seal the deal. He's going for another one, on to nothing. I would have expected nothing to bag that kill for himself. And Jumpy takes down Shazam. 5 versus 1, and Shroud has been dropped as well. Orbit move on to 8.
And another quad kill for Maxi. Granted, an anti-eco, so there is that. But Maxi survived Shongares. He then went on to survive nothing. I mean, he just cleaned up mid single-handedly right there and then caught the rotator from A. I mean, that's just individual play right there for that round. Orbit, Cloud9 tried to get cheeky. But the thing is that I would have liked to have seen Cloud9 go for that, for a counter boost like that. I would like to see that on a buy round. I would like to see that when they have rifles. Just go for the big plays when you have the guns, when you have what's necessary to do the damage. Not just with pistols and you get picked off one after the other, right? So here we have again, Cloud9 developing a defense for mid. They want to get control of this portion of the map, and they are going to be in a good position to rotate fairly quickly over here to the A side, and they're going to need to because now Orbit are going to come in there.
Yeah, going straight through Squeaky. Pyth is the first man in once again. Entry fragging for his team, and he comes out ahead with 2 kills in completely different directions. Nicely done by him, but again, surprise, surprise, the talisman of Cloud9 bags himself a quick fire double and a triple as well. The bomb's been dropped, and Cloud9 in good shape to pick up this round.
He has the bomb control. He knows that Jumpy is here, but Jumpy finally will take nothing out. Sean Gares is here, however, to double up on that defense, and a flank is coming in, so this is big. This is all about buying time now. Sean Gares needs to just try and keep them from planting that bomb to give enough time for Sempis to come in for the flank. Huiten is gone now, and it's down to Jumpy, your clutch man.
Oh, you let me down.
But not this time. Not this time. 1v2 gets played out very well there by Cloud9.
To be fair to him, though, 2 plays and basically backwards and front. Yeah. It's a hard one. It's definitely a hard one for him to pick off. And the time as well was also dropping down. But there's always a twinkle when he's about in those situations. You always have that feeling at the pit of your stomach, and it's 8-6, and this is a must-win round for Cloud9. They have to take this.
Yeah, but that is it, right? You know, they have to take this one here and just stop it. Turn it into 8-7. Maybe you can get it. You can turn it around by picking up the pistol in the T side for Cloud9. Orbit, however, are just looking so on point right now. And look at Orbit. They were expecting some kind of aggression to come out here from Cloud9 as well, holding pretty far back, making sure that they weren't exposed if a counter boost came out, for example. Now, okay, they've waited an appropriate amount of time. They start to go for the move, and they start to go ahead and put some pressure here in mid.
Memphis is going to break the deadlock there, eviscerating Maxi. Jumpy, though, living up to his name there, pushing through mid, and they're going to get mid connector. This is a great position for Orbit to be in, but Shazam, the call came in from his fallen comrade of Simon Sevens, and he is going to be there in position to strike. Jumpy can sense this one, though. Spidey sense is tingling. He's about to come head-to-head and gets the upper hand. That was a huge frag, I have to feel. If Shazam locks that down, they have the mid connector once again. You'd expect Cloud9 to converge on that area and pick it up.
This is all about Shroud right now. This is all about Shroud. He has to land one. He does hit that headshot there through the clip of the box. Not going to be able to live through it then, but still did the damage, got the kills. And now into a 2v1 scenario. This should be impossible for Cloud9 to lose at this point. They need to work together, take the time, and nothing is on the flank right now. They hear that bomb plant going down, and he just so happens to plant it for a main.
Doesn't get the kill, but knocks Huitin so low. It's going to be a phenomenal clutch, and nothing comes round once again and bags himself the frag. 8-7 will be the halftime scoreline, but all things considered, Orbit are going to be very content with this result.
Seemed like they were a little confused there at the end. You know, like, what are we supposed to do again? Right. You know, they didn't get to do it too much. You know, this half, right? You know, oh yeah, defuse the bomb. That's part of the plan here. That was a bit touch and go there. But Shroud, this time around, Shroud was able to stand and get 2 kills. And a 2-for-1 trade, that's perfectly fine. As far as Shroud is concerned, even if he gets a 1-for-1 at that point, I think that would have been fine. But him getting 2 made a big difference there in how that round played out and closed out. But now I'm curious to see exactly, there it is. That's what I was looking for, the Tech 9 armor. So somebody buys a Tech 9, Shroud goes to Kevlar, and he gets dropped that Tech 9 behind it. So that turns him into a one-man army. Like that is a brutal combination right there to have in a pistol round.
He is going his own route right now through Squeaky. See Orbit in the form of Rogue and Maxi locking it down. Maxi moving to a forklift. What a one-click. Very Forest-esque there. The bomb will be planted just about, but Maxi from behind gets himself another 2 to take down the quad. And Orbit pick up the round with only losing 1 player. Speechless.
Kind of just like waving my hands around. Like, what do you do against that? Orbit, that was about as clean as it gets. They see the smoke round coming in. They see a fast play coming in from Cloud9, and they land all of the shots. I mean, it's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. If Orbit missed those shots, if they don't get that one-click headshot coming through the smoke at Forklift, you know, then maybe Cloud9, they come back into it. But the fact that every time Orbit saw a player, they just annihilated that player, there's not a lot that Cloud9 can do in that scenario, really. I mean, if you're losing every duel, what can you do? So it's going to be a force buy out of Cloud9 here, and this is, again, what Cloud9 prepared for on their CT side. Orbit have done the same. They've gone for rifles here. They've only just kind of skimped on Jumpy, but he's got a 5.7, so it's not the end of the world for him.
Difference is that Orbit didn't actually go for this tactic. Cloud9 thought it was going to happen. They just basically had a full eco round. So Cloud9 with 4 Tech 9s and the 1 AK-47 are going to be playing this one slow and steady. Orbit, this is something they did a lot as well. And yeah, they've only got 1 player watching A, that's Rogue.
The ultra passive right now, the ultra passive hold coming out from Orbit. They know that Cloud9, there's a high possibility of there being some kind of desperation move coming out from them. I mean, this kind of buy is just that for Cloud9. They know that they're under pressure. They know that they need to get T rounds on the board, and they need to break Orbit early. So Orbit, how do they do it? They just play as passive as possible, and they will aim for a retake here. That's if that bomb gets planted eventually here.
Yeah, and all this time is given the allowance for the cavalry to charge on in. That's going to be Python Maxi, one of which was Maxi on catwalk. He gets dropped. Rogue comes round, gets himself a double with the Famous. And even though the bomb's been planted, you'd fancy Orbit to get the retake here fairly comfortably, although nothing. He's going to get 2 with the Tech 9. He's the last remaining player. We've seen him go huge already in this game. This would be a level beyond, and he is on track right now to make it just that, and nothing again. Exploding 4 frags, and gives Cloud9 that lifeline How many times have we said that already, though?
I don't know, but I mean, clearly, what? We're in the 18th. We're going into the 18th round, and nothing is at 28 frags.
Unbelievable.
3 of his teammates haven't even got above 10 frags yet. What is the, like? Where did this come from? Nothing. Like, why haven't we seen this at every major? This is the kind of level of play that we need to see from him, like, every time. It's just if the rest of his team could step up and follow suit. Right now, it's really just the nothing show for Cloud9.
Must be so disheartening for him. He's trying to pump everyone up and say, come on, guys. I've got 28 frags. I've nearly hit my 30, and no one's even close to me. Jumpy. He's going to run around the corner with a P250 on B. Gets the headshot. And Shazam's been dropped as well. So Cloud9, again, a lot of their eyes are going to be shifting towards nothing. Can he reach in that magic hat one more time and pull out something special? Maybe not needed as Semphis with the Tech 9 goes in, and there's Sean Gez with the UMP. And the second as well, picking up the AK-47, trying to spray down Pyth, and it's down to a 2-on-2.
It was a very close call, but unfortunately that means that Orbit are now going to be able to pick up guns here. Pyth will be able to pick up that AK. Would like to see him actually hand it over to Roke, because Roke has more HP, but it looks like they're going to decide to split up and go separate ways here. The bomb has been planted, and I like this from Cloud9. They're going to be working, together here in this scenario. And I say that, and I say it too soon, because this is a bit of a problem.
Yeah, just a bit.
This passive angle from Semphis does nothing to watch his teammates back.
Does allow him to get the crossfire, though, onto the first player, but was caught with his pants down trying to throw a grenade. There's enough time to get that defuse in. Well, actually, he doesn't have a kit.
Ooh, it's going to be close.
It's going to be very close. I think he's got it, though.
Yeah, I think,
well,
I don't know.
Oh, he's sweating a bit too much.
I don't know. That's okay. That's just, man, that extra step that he had to take to find Semphis. But
thing is, though, in that situation, he must have known if he takes his finger off, he's going to die anyway. So is it not worth just to keep on and hope that you're wrong in your mind?
I think at that
point,
no point. I think at that point it was pretty clear that he might as well. I mean, maybe he wanted to just stretch his legs one last time. You know, maybe he just felt like I have to go and run and be free.
Dying like a man, running away from the bomb.
That was a bit of a stroke of luck there for Cloud9, honestly, because the way that they played that, Semphis, you know, I mean, I know he's low on HP, but the fact that he lets his teammate just get walked up on from behind like that without any kind of warning, that's a bit of a problem there.
Speaking of problems, Orbit are facing off against another one. Interesting enough, they stack 4 players on A, and that's the site that Cloud9 want to attack, and they're still steamrolling over this defense. Pyth gets himself one, nearly connecting the dots on the second. But the frags are being exchanged, and they are in the North Americans' favor, and then it's going to be another round to Cloud9. So we were a bit apprehensive about their chances, but in fairness to them, they've started off very well on T side.
I have, and that was the kind of round that needed to happen. I mean, still, I guess so long as they aren't passing the three frag mark, basically, they're going to be all right with this Cloud9 if they keep 3 players alive. But that was still a pretty decent eco round coming out from Orbit. Actually managed to pick up 2 kills, considering Cloud9 don't have that much money to work with right now. But it looks like it's going to be control mid coming out here from Cloud9. Very quick play, in fact. And Orbit decided to give this up. So they aren't going to force the matter, although Huiten has been boosted in. Problem is, he's going to get spotted. 3 guys there for Cloud9, making sure that he is not going to be able to get anything done.
Yeah, again, playing very deep defensively and being punished for it. Sean Gez and Semphis both get themselves on the score tally once again. There's Semphis opening up onto Pyth. And they know where Roke is as well, so they're going to just take this bomb towards the B site and plant it. Roke's got himself one, but to pull off a 1 versus 4 clutch, it's going to be tough.
This is going to be it. Let's see if he's got a bit of the nothing in him, right? Nope. He gets caught on the edge there, right at the edge of the smoke. And GoTV, sometimes it's a little difficult to see the edge, the smoke is a little bit bigger than it actually shows up sometimes. And so I think that was a case of, we could see clearly, but he was probably still in the smoke, couldn't actually see out there. So just unfortunate there for Rogue, but Cloud9 are starting to pick up some steam here. I think this is the thing, eventually nothing's big plays, was enough to wake up the team and start getting them to come together a little bit here, because, I don't know how many clutches like that you have to pull off, quad kills, aces you need to do to be able to get your team to wake up, but it seems like perhaps they finally, passed that line here on Cloud9's side.
Yeah, real inspiration to the rest of his team, and Sean Gez now does definitely seem to be going through the gears as he gets himself 2. This is an eco round from Orbit. So you'd expect them to lose this one fairly comfortably in the end. This would be great if Cloud9 can win without losing a single player. That's going to do their economy the world of good. It's going to give their confidence the world of good as well.
Oh, there you go. Pyth once again lines up that shot. Does not know that Shroud is boosted up on red. So he will get taken out. But again, you know, I think that was a little bit of the curse, man. You got to knock the table a little bit. I don't know, something, because
Commentator's curse.
Perfect round. That perfect round. And then Pice was like, I'm not having that. I'm not having that.
I think it's pretty important as well to mention to viewers that may have just joined us, this is Orbit's choice of map as well. So Cloud9 after this will be playing on Inferno. That was their choice. And then Cobblestone will be the decider if we need it. And judging by the performances of both teams, this is still way too close to call for me.
Absolutely. I mean, Inferno is still a perplexing call for me as well, concerning Cloud9. But already, Cash, nice trade there by Sempus. The jumping headshot onto Huiten, clearing out the vents. Jumpy going to step forward, however, managed to pick up one, but he gets caught in that corner. A kill that Sempus should not miss. Luckily, Shazam is there holding that angle with the Tech-9, and he will be able to catch Jumpy out. But this is still a man advantage scenario here for Orbit.
And they make it work. That's the question. Maxi saying no. Do Cloud9 a 1v3, but look at this, they've got a minute left to play with.
Got a minute left.
A lot of time.
It's the man himself.
It is, and he has the bomb, and he's got 100% of his hit points remaining, so anything is possible right now. And judging by the positioning of Orbit, if they stay too stagnant, nothing could potentially get round to A. There's going to be a player coming up to him, and that's in the form of Rogue. Get the upper hand here, both spraying at one another. Nothing comes out ahead, but again, it's down to the time, it's down to the discrepancy that he faces in terms of manpower, and as godlike as nothing has been, it's a bit too much to ask from him.
Looks like Rogue was up to the task of deicide today. That round at least. I mean, there's only so many times that you can clutch like that. I mean, still 23 rounds in, and then nothing has already broken the 30 mark, right? 31, 4, and 13 is just an insane scoreline, absolutely insane. So sometimes, you know, you aren't a wizard, and it's just not true.
It's sad. It is so sad. But Maxi is going to get the first pick off in this game once again, this round I should say, which he's done quite a few times in fairness to him. He's been very good with that AWP. Partly down to Cloud9 sometimes peaking when they really shouldn't as well, but you've got to give props to Maxi. And it does definitely seem that Orbit have been kind of a team cohesive unit. They've been pushing forward, everyone's been doing their part, no one's really underperforming. Whereas on Cloud9, you know, we've talked about this a couple of times, nothing's really carried everyone. But the rest of his team now, in fairness to them, they are starting to share that burden of weight.
Yeah, that's true. They are stepping up across the board now for Cloud9, but I am really impressed with Orbit's performance right now. They seem to be in very solid shape right now going into this. You know, the beginning was a little bit touch and go, a bit back and forth. Cloud9 giving them a little helping hand as well, but so far it's going to be Huiten. Good teamwork there. The pop flash to give him the opportunity to take a peek, get the info. All the while not getting caught out, but this is definitely looking like it's going to be an A play here from Cloud9.
Sure. Now when you have the time to flick it round as Shroud gets a beautiful dink there onto Pyth. They're overrunning the site. It's all on Rogue. He's in a good position to strike. He gets himself one. Unable to get any more from that exchange. Shroud comes in for his second. And now Huiten, the last remaining player. 20 seconds. The bomb's been planted. 11 HP. This would be huge from him, and he does get headshot from the man himself. Nothing. 13 to 10. I've got to say at halftime, I was not expecting to be saying that.
What I was not expecting was to see Huiten hanging around there, actually. I think that he should have been back and holding onto his gun, because the state of the economy right now, I mean, it's not very solid for Orbit. If he could have held onto a gun, maybe they can put it in a place where it's going to have a high impact in this round here, instead of just throwing it away in a 1v3 trying to hold an angle, looking for exits, right? When I don't think it's going to make the biggest difference. What is making the difference, however, is Shazam landing 2 big kills to start. And it's the eco round, though, so they are standing out a little bit. It's going to be Sempus to take that one, however, with the AK.
Tried rushing through mid there to try and catch Cloud9 off guard, and Shazam was just in perfect position to strike, and an easy, comfortable win in the end there for Cloud9, 14 to 10. Orbit were on eco, so they're expecting to see some weapons here. And they're running out of chances themselves now. They have to start stepping up. You know, we were talking about how well Orbit were playing, but these last 5 or 6 rounds, it just seems they've kind of faded away into obscurity almost.
That's also the staying power. You know, Cloud9 are a team of veterans. They've played with this lineup for a fair amount of time now, or at least the core 4, right? So we do expect Cloud9 to have an edge in this scenario, but Orbit are certainly putting up a bit of a fight. Putting up a battle, but there it is. Nothing, taking things into his own hands. He just takes over mid with a good shot.
You can see the confidence that's oozing through him right now. He's just peeking everything. His movement's on point. His aim is just directly towards heads. And he is just getting frags left, right, and center. It must be very scary from Orbit's perspective to actually face off against somebody that's in such good form. How do you deal with him when he's like this?
When he's like this, well, I mean, then again, you kind of like look at the moon or something because it doesn't happen every day, right? Something special has to be going on for nothing to be dropping 30 bombs by the 22nd round.
It's going to be another kill there from Orbit. This is just what the Doctor ordered from them. Desperately need this. Jumpy in good position. Gets himself 2. He could very well add to that tally as well. Pyth gets himself 2. And then we go from Orbit, taking this game back towards themselves. Shazam actually gets a kill with the Molotov.
Yeah, and I wanted to point that out as well, actually, at the beginning of the round. And look at this change. Bam, okay, they've changed it up quite a bit here on Cloud9's side. Initially, in the last round, all of them had Molotovs. 3 of them had double flash smoke and Molotov. 2 of them had, 1 of each, right? And so that's actually fairly interesting. It makes you think, okay, B, perhaps to clear things out, clear out the angles. You can go to either site and use those Molotovs effectively. So Cloud9 are a team that love Molotovs. So this time around, we only see 2 of them picked up, however. Look at this cheeky position here by Rogue, however.
Drops. Actually will push through, and they line him up. And he knocks them down. There's another player to his right-hand side pushing from, going to say Forklift. That was dealt with from Pyth, but now they've given their lives away needlessly from what seemed like a really strong start from Orbit. They still have the man advantage. Oh my goodness, somehow Shazam is still standing after that onslaught. Finally gets taken down from Maxi. And now it's all on Shroud. Getting tagged up to his left and his right, and Huiten puts him out of his misery. 14-12. That looked a bit ropey, though, for Orbit for a few seconds after a great double frag to then nearly let that slip through the fingers.
Yeah, the fact that they stacked up on Squeak like that, you saw that, I think it was Sempis who actually got the assist on nothing there when that kill came through, just because, when you're stacked up on top of each other, it's so hard not to deal damage to your teammate like that.
You see there's 3 players on 21 frags, like really sharing the burden over on Orbit, but maybe they do need someone to channel it in a nothing here and step up another level.
I prefer to see the 3 to 4 players, the 3 where it's spread out, because then you know that everybody's playing at a reasonable level, and you don't have to rely on that one star fragger, right, who's going to make all the difference. But hell, if that star fragger gets shot in the back by his teammate and he's dead at the beginning of the round, you don't want that to happen on Cloud9's side right now. You need to keep nothing alive. It does seem like Cloud9 are starting to come into their own a little bit. But here we go. This is going to be a full-out smoke round onto the A site. They're just looking to get into this site and get a plant as quickly as possible.
Any kills will certainly be a bonus. Molotov through from CTs on towards Squeaky. That's going to stop the onslaught for a few more seconds. Rogue gets the first frag. There's Maxi as well, and Pyth. Everyone chipping in this round, but Shroud does get a frag before getting dropped. It doesn't look like that mission of the bomb plant is going to come to fruition. Nothing. Does get it finally. Made a bit of a dog's dinner out of that one, but did get the kill nonetheless. So 2 kills on the eco round. It's not the end of the world.
No, but I am a bit disappointed that they don't actually get that bomb out of A main for ages.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what happened there. As far, it was a little bit hard to tell, of course, in that melee. But why nothing was back there with the bomb? Why weren't they able to actually make it onto that bomb site a little bit faster? Start putting some pressure there. Seemed like they got cut off by the smokes. Just good smoke play coming out from Orbit. That was not necessarily a successful round. Even getting 2 kills, I think they really needed a plant, because we can see that their nades are fairly low here on Cloud9's side. That bonus $800, if they had got the plant, would have made a big difference here.
See that Jumpy again in the same position, just holding B by himself. I mean, he's got some support coming in behind him, and they're stacking up pretty much to try and get through. But look at those smokes, the flashes, everything being thrown in here. And the bomb has managed to get across to B. That's going to be planted from Sean Gares. He will get the bomb down just before being dropped himself. Nothing now. He's pretty much surrounded by players actually spraying through the smoke. Maxi gets himself one as well. And that's going to be 3 on 2. Cloud9 have the bomb planted. And they've got potentially the positions to make this one work. Shazam's just given his position away, though. And Pyth will put them down with a nice M4 spray. And that will be 14-14.
14-14, and this is several rounds now that they've lost in a row, Cloud9. Well, I mean, they're just barely going to eke out a buy here. They're just barely going to be able to afford it. Again, because of that bomb plant. Man, just so close here. This feels like it's going to go all 30 rounds. This is it. This is going to be 30 rounds, guys, one way or another. We're at 14-14 at this point. The question is whether Orbit are going to be able to stay strong, and now this is when Orbit changed up their strategy. Look at this, the double op play. I love it. You're down to the clutch rounds, the ones that you need to win the game. You haven't done this yet? Guess what, guys? We're going to throw a curveball at you. Let's see if you can adjust on the fly.
And Jumpy's a guy that really is very good with the AWP as well. It's not like they've just gone for desperation. Like, this guy can get picks. He can convert this into the 15th round for Orbit, but this is just the first map. We could be in for the long haul here, Assembler, over 3 maps.
It feels like both of these teams are so dead even right now, at least. I mean, off of nothing's performance really for Cloud9, but then the rest of Cloud9 kind of struggling to catch up. It's all the opportunity that Orbit need. I mean, Orbit, Swedish team, they've been playing together for quite a while as well. So they do have some experience, not on the main stage, but as a team they do.
Exactly it. Not all the experience that land together, but been playing with one another for so long. It's a 1-for-1, well, it's a 1-for-0 trade, pardon me, as actually Shroud was legged, not finished off by the AWP shot. So they've gone for double AWP, and so far they've locked into position well enough that Cloud9 have to be on the offensive now. 35 seconds, looking to push B.
A very clean rotation coming out from Orbit as well. They over-rotated somewhat, but they still left a man behind on that B site, and now they're able to just fall back into standard positions here. So I really like this from Orbit. They're keeping their cool. They know this is the round where they break Cloud9.
Maxi gets the flick there onto Shroud. That could prove to be so important. Jumpy, it's all about the AWP so far. It has came to fruition. Nothing gets dropped. 10 seconds to go. Stemfist does get himself one, but Orbit move on to 15 rounds. Cloud9 have to win this to take it into overtime. That's simple for them. That's their mission.
That's it. Exactly. This is it now, the make or break moment, and they don't get a bomb plant to back that. So that means that they're going to have to go for Tech 9 armor and just try. I mean, look at this. They're going for AKs, but they have no nades to work with. I almost want to see a couple of them just go for Galils, have some smokes, have something to work with here, apart from just Sean Gares being the only one.
As I said in the analyst desk, this map is about set pieces. It's about tactics. So if you don't have those grenades, it makes it a hell of a lot harder. So they're going to be going on for almost raw aim here, our Cloud9. Maybe try switcheroo, but they're just pretty much hiding outside of Squeaky and trying to catch Orbit off guard. But Orbit, again, they're going to be locking down this site.
Yeah, okay, well, this is patience. This is a patience game. The one thing that I'm wondering was if Orbit were going to start pushing on the other side of the map to get the information, right? Like Swedish teams, they love to do this, or at least, Fnatic, right? They take risks, they go around the map, they get that info. If they don't spot you by the minute mark, this guy should be pushing into B halls, or at least trying to get some kind of information here as to where the setup is. But I think because he's saying, okay, it's all quiet here on the southern front, right? They have to start wondering what's happening over on this A site now. Yeah, there it is. The push into halls. Now they have the info. They start the rotation through CT. They're going to get 3 guys onto this site. This is going to be so hard for Cloud9.
Never has squeaky door been so loud as what we just heard there. And Orbit twig on to what's about to happen. There we go. Molotov's thrown out. Roke in the exact same position and the same result as well. The double could very well secure them this map by itself. Huyton gets one. Sean Gares from Forklift is certainly going to have to prove to be huge in this round, but Shazam actually takes this round into his hands and gets himself a double. And now it's down to a one-on-one, 81 HP on Jumpy. He has the huge advantage. Molotov's landed 10 seconds. Very difficult for Cloud9 to get this bomb down. 5 seconds. He's got to go for it right now. Shazam's going to be right down to the wire. Jumpy's pushing in. He's allowed the site to get planted on. It's going to come down to the aim. And Shazam pulls it off with 20 HP. What did I just witness?
What we just witnessed is nearly a 40 bomb in regular time from nothing. And Shazam with the clutch. And Jumpy, that's all the mind game right there. That's all about the mind game. Jumpy clearly thought that Shazam was trying to fake plant him out into the open right there. That was so close. And look at Shazam on the edge of that Molotov. I thought it was done. I thought that was it. He was not going to be able to plant. If he tried to plant, he would just burn to death.
Exactly the same thoughts. I thought, oh, this is really well played. He threw the Molotov down. That's it. The round's done and dusted. We're going to map 2. We're going to Inferno. Nope. Another chapter in this story.
Your Olaf Meister impression. Oh man, that what an incredible 30th round there.
Overtime on the first map. This is a game that I think a lot of people, as a pause comes in, that a lot of people expected Cloud9 to kind of walk away with. I think a lot of people were saying, Orbit, they're a decent team. Cloud9, they have the experience, they have the talent over them. They should take this easily. What we're seeing here is Orbit really stepping up to the plate and delivering.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, well, this is also what Thorne was talking about a little bit during the analysis, the pre-match, where Orbit, this is a big opportunity for them to show themselves, show what they're capable of, right? So they're on the stage. They're playing against a world-class team right now. This is a major team that was in the groups, didn't make it out of the groups, but that are still up there competing with the world's best. So for Orbit, this is a golden opportunity. If they win in a best-of-3 versus Cloud9, it's fantastic for them. It's all of a sudden going to bring attention to them, and it's going to show them, show the world at least a little bit of what they're capable of. So clearly, they're capable of taking it to 30 rounds here versus one of North America's best teams. Can they now go the distance? Because it seems like it is MR6 here with 16K. So we should have a good long bit of overtime here to actually set things up.
Oh yes, I can see this going a very, very long way. And again, this is just the first map. but another 2 potentially coming up after this one.
But we have to talk a little bit about that, right? Inferno.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Inferno, why do Cloud9 keep doing this to themselves? They're just like convinced that they can win on Inferno. They do it every single time. And I think they've only like won 1 Inferno map like on LAN. Like it's their bane. But they continue to just to try and make that map work. That's their second map. Imagine if you lose cash in overtime and then Cloud9 have to go into Inferno to try and stay alive in this series. I think it's going to be looking very grim for the North American team.
Yeah, and this comes back to what I was saying before as well about Orbit being a very inconsistent team. When they show up to the plate, these guys, I wouldn't necessarily say they're world beaters, but they can really challenge the top teams and take them to their limits. You could say that Cloud9 didn't all perform 100%, that nothing had to take the majority of that weight to start with until the ball started to get rolling. But again, you can't discredit Orbit for how they played that first half. 8-7 as tees is fantastic.
Tees is very good. I mean, well, it could have been far worse than that.
Yeah.
We could have looked at like 12-3 if it wasn't for nothing getting an ace, nothing getting a quad, nothing getting a quad. I mean, nothing is the reason why Cloud9 even made it this far. I mean, they came alive on their T side, Cloud9. It seemed like they were starting to find a little bit more of their gumption. It wasn't just nothing having to do all the work. But in the first half, if it weren't for nothing, Cloud9 would have got steamrolled, like outright, just not even a match. So nothing really coming in big for his team. I think that they can all give him a big hug after this match, regardless of the result, and just say, thanks, man, because you really did step up.
And it's these pressure situations as well. I mean, we touched on this before, that the feeling amongst most people is that the winner of this game will likely go through to the next stages.
Yes.
That's generally the feeling.
It's very close.
Again, that adds another layer of intense pressure on the shoulders of these players and these teams as well. And in fairness to Cloud9, yes, they started slow, but they finished strong. So there's some good things for them as well there.
Mm-hmm. No, that was... so much to talk about on that round, but I mean, it really does feel like also what we expected. I mean, there were a couple clean smoke rounds that we saw, go according to plan. But it looks like we have a bit of a replay coming in here from round 30, the 30th round where Cloud9 really tried to play the patience game. I honestly thought that this was going to be it right here, that Orbit had all the cards that they needed, that they'd made the correct call. They didn't over-rotate in. They were still waiting for the bomb. And I think that's the main thing here that came to bite Orbit a little bit, because look at this hesitation coming out from the B side, man. They hadn't seen the bomb yet, and that eventually cost Orbit. If they could have had a 2-to-1 advantage a little bit earlier here in this scenario, Huiten getting caught right there, that's the big problem. That's what ended up costing Orbit, I think, in the end.
I mean, as you say, Jumpy shows up with 15 seconds to go. Yes, he gets the kill, but had he been there 5 seconds earlier, it could be a completely different tale.
That moment's hesitation. That moment's hesitation. And then this play right here, essentially, where Jumpy, the moment's hesitation on B site, and you were talking about him being like the clutch player, right? But that moment's hesitation on B site, and then also getting the wrong read as far as was that a fake plant or not. 2 mistakes there from Jumpy means that we are not going into overtime, and it looks like this is the first round of overtime. And my mistake, it is not MR6, it looks like it's MR3, and it looks like 10K starting as well.
See, so we are live once again here. Maxi throwing out the flashbang. CTs are going to be occupied by Orbit, of course. Cloud9 now on the T side once again. And going for similar tactics as well, not really throwing anything different out here. They do have mid control very quickly, which is good news for them, but we've seen time and time again that Orbit like to play defensive. They like to play really deep on the CT side.
Really do like to force Cloud9 to use gear to try and get up. They are giving a lot. And this is also could be a confidence play, but Pyth is going to be able to pick up Sean Gares here to start. That's actually taking him out of Squeak. A double kill, a triple spray down from Pyth. Double kill on short, and that is a catastrophe for Cloud9. Shazam is going to be the last man alive, but Pyth just hunts him down. Quad kill from Pyth, and it's good that we mentioned Pyth at the beginning of this match as a man to watch.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think all of Orbit are capable of making big plays, but I think you definitely look towards Python and Jumpy to an extent as well to be those groundbreaking players. In fairness to Maxi, though, we've seen him get opening picks time and time again with that AWP. He's been doing a good job consistently throughout the rounds. And Huiten and Roke as well, they've been locking down sites. I mean, Roke is always on A, always in the same position, and yet somehow still manages to get 2 or 3 frags now and again.
Wow, great flick on the Semphis there to start things off.
As we say, Maxi, yeah.
Well, you summoned him, man.
Reverse cast.
Oh, and he unscopes just at the wrong time there, but still managed to pick up the entry. It's going to be Cloud9 executing on this B site now.
That looks to be the play. Sean Gez gets the opening pick onto uppers, but Jumpy again running with this double AWP setup. Maxi comes in. Easy peasy for the 2 of them. And already 2-0 in MR6.
That's a problem. That's a real problem because they haven't got plants either, so the money it's looking a little grim. I mean, it's a little bit easier on T side because you can get more bang for your buck, but without plants, that hurts Cloud9. We can see here, you know, they have two guys who have to go Tech 9, Nades, Kevlar, just because they can't afford to go up to the AKs, you know, to the AKs and the Kevlar there. So Orbit are off to a terrific start, and it's also, you know, just that double op play. All the 5 frags last round were from the Oppers. They just annihilated Cloud9.
And it's a tactic that they only really brought in towards the very end of the game as well. They just threw it out there the last couple rounds. You brought it up. You know, he's really impressed with the fact that they'd throw that one in, try and mix things up a tiny bit. And Jumpy, once again, you know, he plays with the AK the entire game, pretty much, and then decides, oh yeah, I'll try my hand at AWPing, picks up 3 or 4 frags without any problem whatsoever.
It's very cool to see Maxi with an uncharacteristic miss there. That seemed like it was going to be a dead-on shot. Now he knows that somebody's passed. However, Pyth is locking down this site, and they line up for him. Doesn't get any worse than that for Cloud9. A perfect scenario for Pyth, and now a 2-man advantage going into this retake on the A site. Make it look easy. The Swedes just dominate the North Americans.
1 out of 3 needed for Orbit now. 1 out of 3. Cloud9, they were in a similar position. Well, I'll rephrase that. They were in a pressure situation at halftime. They came back. However, to hold off 3 rounds, that is asking a lot here.
Oh, that is, I mean, a perfect defense when already your first half defense was far from stellar.
Yeah.
When you were clearly struggling. I mean, it took just godlike individual play from one of your players to keep you in the match. Yeah, it's going to be really hard here for Cloud9. I mean, let's see if Shazam can start off strong. And it's not Shazam, it's Sean Gares. Picks up that AWP kill.
Yeah, taking a leaf out of Orbit's book there, saying, okay, you want to do double orbs? We can do it just as well. And they do get that opening pick. And as you say, just before, you know, 8-7 on T side from Orbit, these guys clearly can pick up rounds on T side without too much problem. So again, they're going to be looking to push the A. Molotov onto Forklift. Pyth does get the frag. Shroud up on Boost, gets 1. Can he add to that tally? He knows his players around him, but the bomb is being planted in the smoke. Orbit looking good right now. Here comes nothing from the side.
Just needs to take his time here. This is good. They're waiting it out. Good spot there by nothing. Manages to see that they did go for the boost. Shroud is there to back him as well. They're both caught reloading at the same time, but they do get the frag in the end. Bit too close for comfort. But I do like the fact that Shroud, he didn't try to force the issue. He was on boost. He did get 1 clean kill, and rather than run in and just YOLO through that smoke and try and force the issue and go there early before his teammates could rotate in, he just fell back and played the angle with the HEs and took his time waiting for that rotation to come in. They didn't take the fight until everybody was there for Cloud9, and that's what we need to see from their CT side. Calm, measured, intelligent play.
Yeah, because that smoke was almost a benefit and a detriment to him all at once. Yes, he can't kill them, but they can't really see him either. So if he just bides his time and waits, he can have an impact in a few seconds. That's pretty much exactly what we saw.
Perfect. There we go. Style points for Cloud9.
Nice.
Style points.
He's going to get rushed, though. He's going to see players right below him. And does get 1, gets 2, gets 3, looking for the 4th, pulls out the P2K, can't connect it. But surely the damage has been done, or has it? Orbit have pulled this back to a 2-on-2. The bomb is going to A, and this should be planted.
They have the Molotov to delay that plant, and there it is, nothing. Peeks forward and catches Pyth out. Huiten is now the last man alive, runs through the flames, trying to close the gap. He knows that the AWP is on short, he knows that the rifle is in CT, but he needs to wait for somebody to peek. If he tries to take this fight, this is so dirty. He catches Shazam stepping out, but nothing will be there to lock it down. Way too close for comfort.
Especially as he preemptively started to shoot across, and I had these visions in my head of him just getting a headshot like straight away.
I was waiting for them to line up. Yeah. You know, it feels like the theme of this map has been everybody stand in a conga line. And it's like, no, the wrong place at the wrong time. Turn that music off. But that was, again, too close here. But a similar situation. Now it's Orbit who are just with a bit of a struggle here.
Difference is, though, with Orbit getting bomb plants, they're in a much healthier position than Cloud9 were on the flip side. So, that being said, they lose the first player, so it doesn't even matter.
They're losing picks to these AWPs. Shazam and Sean really stepping up. Shazam in particular.
He has gone on the distance for Cash, and this could very well go into second overtime, unless something special happens from the Swedes. Cloud9 are going to drag it back once again. Have the player advantage, have a minute to play with the Orbit, so they can keep Cloud9 on the edge of their seats. We have seen them use every second of their allotted time over the course of the T side. Really tense, and Jumpy does get the frag. There's Roku as well. Good positioning from Sean Gares. 1, 2, very nicely done. Keeping the NA team in this one. And Pyth with a 1-on-3 situation up against him.
This is pretty much the best of 3 right here that we're seeing. I mean, Pyth right now, he is in a very tight spot. 30 seconds left. He's getting boxed in. He did find the one way out of here, however, but Stempus should hear that, and Stempus has heard that. The run through Garage, so now they know that the rotation is coming through. They should be rotating that man fairly quickly. Sean Garage needs to haul, or it's Shroud, actually. He's going to get through back into CT, and there you go. Spots him out, but guess what? Pyth is going to hit 2 glorious headshots. What is that? Pre-aiming the angle, it just takes them out. Cloud9, no time to react.
I'm speechless.
What was that?
He just like flicked. That was, oh my god, that was unbelievable. He still has one more player to find and frag, but to just bring this back into this position, and he gets it with the headshot, and that will seal the deal for the first map. And what a way to finish it as well.
Wow, just godlike. You know, we're talking about nothing keeping his team alive in the first half. There's the play from Pyth, and that is why Pyth, I mean, he was considered for a lot of top teams in Sweden, and he certainly seems to be showing, you know, that he's matured as a player, because landing shots like that, not everybody's capable of it. What a first map to start off the day, though. You know, we started a little early today. We're supposed to start at noon. We started at 10, but I'm glad that the players, you know, it seems like they're well rested and they're ready to go.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Words don't really do that justice. What a first map for us to watch. A real treat. And there's still potentially 2 more coming up as well.
Exactly, because next we go into Inferno, and it's Cobblestone to close this out, this best of 3. Cobblestone if necessary, but Inferno now, this is the worst case scenario. This is dire times for Cloud9, because what I wanted to say, you know, about playing for that best of 3, right? Pyth playing that round for the best of 3, is that in such a close map to start off a series, it is so hard for a team to come back into it mentally if you feel like you got robbed in that first map. If you feel like you should have had that first map, to reset mentally and come into a fresh second map, it is incredibly difficult to do. And what's worse is that Cloud9 now have to do that on Inferno, a map that they have just had atrocious results on throughout every LAN. So it doesn't get any worse than this for Cloud9. This is, if they can come back from this scenario, it's going to be like rebirth from the ashes. You know, we're going to go and paint phoenixes on their shirts, right? So Cloud9 now have to do it. They didn't look too pleased, though, in that booth.
Yeah, understandably slow as well, because as you say, it's a real hammer to your confidence. It's a real hammer to your momentum. You know, if they win that map, they're going to be feeling great right now. They're going to feel on cloud 9, if you completely excuse that pun, didn't mean to do it. But instead, they're probably just thinking, Christ, what do we do from here? Inferno's coming up.
Exactly. And this with a team that hasn't shown the results on majors. They didn't make it out of the groups this time. They've been definitely struggling, you know, with the group phases. They've been struggling tournament after tournament after tournament. They're still scratching their heads, wondering, like, okay, what is the problem? You know, they can't quite seem to put their finger on it and address the issue, the problem that is costing them these games. Because they are, I mean, they have a team with just incredible talent. I mean, look at the first half, what we just saw, like godlike play from nothing. Godlike play from nothing in the first half, but we need the rest of the team to follow suit. We need everybody on the team to be landing those kinds of shots. At that point, then Cloud9 become a true team to be dealt with. But right now, they're far too shaky, far too shaky.
This is probably one of the reasons why, to be fair, they haven't had the greatest LAN performances. Going back to DreamHack, going back to Katowice as well, that they are too shaky. They're too inconsistent at LAN.
All right, well, guys, well, we're going to go ahead and take a very short commercial break here between maps, so don't go anywhere. I know you guys like it. Short break, and we'll be right back.
Time that you don't own, you leave me waiting all alone. Breaking words you said fear. Promises that felt like tears. And when I'm waiting all alone, I need you to take me home. Promises like broken bones. I've been holding on to you. And when I'm waiting all alone, I need you to take me home. Promises like broken bones. I've been holding on to you. Fighting battles we can't win. Can't you see the mess we're in? Choking up on every sin. Your promises don't mean a thing. And when I'm waiting all alone, I need you to take me home. Promises like broken bones. I've been holding on to you. And when I'm waiting.
Hi, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Gfinity Spring Masters 1, the first one of the year. There's going to be many more coming up in this lovely location here, live from the View Cinema in London. But, Metas, that was pretty much like the perfect way to start the day. I think who needs coffee when you get overtime and just godlike plays from nothing?
Just unbelievable. It wasn't just nothing as well. I mean, yeah, he played fantastic, but Pyth at the end, man.
We were just talking about that. Like, how does he hit those shots? I mean, okay, granted, the one shroud, you know, CT, right? Okay, that's like a pre-fire shot, right? Okay, he hits that. But the second one, and then the third one, being able to close it out and get the drop on that third man, just Pyth, man. That's why you got to watch this kid. That's why he's on the radar for a lot of top teams.
And I felt sorry for Sean Gayes, who was the third player, because he's probably like, guys, what the hell? We had this in the bag. We had the second overtime in the bag.
Yeah.
And suddenly he's in a 1v1. The bomb's planted in a horrific position to be in. But just, that really was a story of individual brilliance, that first map. Those crazy back and forth plays.
I think that's like the story of nothing as far as I'm concerned. You know, that first half of Cloud9 was all nothing, trying to stay in this game, trying to keep his team alive. We have to give him credit for that, because without him, Cloud9 were just absent. They were not there. They were not present on that map. Nothing was the man who actually started to come back, you know, 3-4 rounds in. All of a sudden he starts getting some speed going. He starts getting the quad kills. He gets that ace spray down as well. But it wasn't even a spray down. It was very calm, cool, collected shots taken from him. And just before you know, he's like, oh, he has an ace. He killed everybody on the map. Congratulations. You know, nothing all of a sudden is waking up here. You know, like I said before the break, though, I think that Inferno is about the worst case scenario here for Cloud9. I think that this is definitely going to be a map that they might struggle on.
Team Orbit will fancy their chances on that map as well. They will be looking forward to coming in here and trying to knock over the North Americans. It's such a huge match. You really can't stress that enough.
You can be sure that they are going to be very prepared on it.
Yeah.
I mean, Swedish team as well, you know, practicing. They're in the practice circles. They are getting the experience versus the top tier. I mean, Cloud9 are as well, but there's a quality by, you know, Huiten, by these players, Jumpy, etc. I mean, Huiten from the original LGB lineup, I mean, this guy's been around, and he has played with the best. I mean, that's the Wolfmeister Crims. You know, they went over to Fnatic, but Huiten was there to start the show with Michael, you know? And then, of course, you know, Dennis and Maxaki and like all that roster changed a lot. But okay, regardless of the history lesson, you know, going into this map now, how do you think it's going to play out? What's your opinion of the standing?
And it's so tough to call purely on the basis I thought it would be close anyway, and then that first map just sealed the deal for me. I'd probably just edge Cloud9 to take this. I think it'll go into a third map. That was my gut feeling at the start of the day. But then again, you know, Orbit, who knows? When it came down to the pressure situations, they performed. It's really that simple.
Oh, here we have a bit of an overview of Inferno, our second map in this best of 3. So Orbit, they just need to win this map to advance on to the winner match of the group. This is a GSL-style group format, guys. So that means you need 2 wins to go through the group, 2 losses, and you are out. So Cloud9 now need to play perfect from here on out. They need 2 maps in a row to keep their hopes alive for that first seed.
Exactly the situation they find themselves in. And it's not going to be on the most solid of footing as you rejoin the action here for the knife round.
So this is going to be fairly important. I think if Cloud9, well, Cloud9 should feel comfortable on T side, but I think they need that start on CT. I think they do need to have a little bit of time to get their bearings.
That's going to be the one-on-one duel to the death. Both have been right-clicked. Pretty much the next knife that lands wins this one.
This is Pyth, the man who clutched, versus the man he killed to get that clutch in the last round of the last map, right? So, poetic. I think so. Did he actually just try and plant the bomb? Pyth going with the taunt modes here. Oh, man. Oh, and Pyth wins it. So, Orbit will be swapping sides, I'm sure. Oh, actually, they might go for some mind games. I'm wondering. Okay, they are going to go for the swap. They are going to go for the swap.
Yeah. So Orbit starting on CTs. Strangely enough, both teams had a stronger showing on T side of Cash. It was 8-7 both ways round. So that's not something you'd say too often on a map like Cash.
That's a good point. That's a good point, actually. The fact that, man, really impressive play from Orbit to begin with on Cash. And they weren't quite able to carry it through. You're right. But Inferno, I mean, Inferno start for Team Orbit. I mean, this has really got to be a map that they're going to be able to shine on. CT side Inferno, so difficult to deal with. Definitely more CT sided than on Cash. And Cloud9, you know, right now, I think are struggling a little bit with their comms on this map in particular.
You know, we touched as well on the mentality, the psychology coming forward to this map, with Cloud9 probably feeling pretty awful, feeling pretty dejected, pretty down. But the other side of me thinks as well, with Team Orbit coming in and everyone viewing them as the underdogs in this game, they may be playing with freedom in that first map, and now they realize, guys, we actually have a chance of winning this one. They could start to tense up themselves. They could start to realize, oh, hold on a second, we could even get through to the playoff stages.
That's a good point. And it comes down to whether the more experienced players on this team, like Huiten, like Jumpy, can keep these guys in line. I think that's going to make the difference. But we are now live with the pistol round here, second map of this best of 3 between Team Orbit and Cloud9. Team Orbit currently in the lead with 1 map to their name. And starting off on the CT side, Pyth, man, he just gets obliterated.
Same tactic again, isn't it, from Cloud9, giving Shroud the Tech 9 and just saying, go, 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 unleash him. And so far, so good for them. Nothing picks up the second. Both of those frags were on A side. So they may try and push through. And actually playing this one slowly, trying to bait out the rotation from Team Orbit. 2 players have moved over from Arches and B, respectively. They still have the one in Banana, which will be Jumpy. Sean Gez is just lurking around that area, and Cloud9 really playing every second of this round. They may have even thought, after getting the 2 entry frags, just rushing in on A, piling in. That probably wouldn't have paid off too well for them, though, considering there's 2 players there.
It's true. Like, the 2 players right now are holding Arch side, so about as close, you know, as close as they can get to that B side without totally giving up A. The only problem is it's going to be very tough for them now to stop this kind of push coming through. I mean, straight out of apartments, Cloud9 basically pushing out the best place on this map possible for them. So Huiten is going to be the last man alive here for Orbit. Cloud9 looking pretty solid. Great headshot there by Huiten, but this is not going to be enough. He's going to get hunted down by Sean Gers in the end, and that is going to be the pistol for Cloud9. Basically off the back of Pyth peeking into second mid to get info. And I think that's pretty much what made the difference right there, because then Maxi runs around through second mid. Unfortunately, the timing was off from him. There was a lurker there for Cloud9, and he was caught with his knife out. So just 2 unfortunate frags means that Cloud9 will be able to pick up that pistol.
Yeah, I think it was Shroud that caught the first player, which was Pyth, and then Maxi got caught by Nothing. Nothing, now we go again, is going to be running through Banana. And we'll get the pick onto Jumpy. That's just going to leave the one player on B right now. Again, they're not pushing the envelope too hard. Better safe than sorry, probably in the back of their mind, because realizing that if P250s or 5.7s are on the opposite team, if you rush in and you're too reckless, you can get completely punished for that one. Even if you lose 1 or 2 players, suddenly that's 2 potentially assault rifles or SMGs in the opponent's hands, and then things go from bad to worse. There's Pyth, just as I was mentioning. Nothing knows, gonna get himself 3-4 kills at the end, and another ace.
Yeah, another ace to start. Going into the third round, that's pretty good for Nothing. That's going to get him pumped. And that actually has to help get the rest of the team pumped, really, because it's like you can't have a repeat performance. He's putting the rest of his team to shame right now. So Nothing leading the charge. Cloud9 now have to catch up. But that is how that second round was supposed to go right there. That was a very clean play there by Nothing.
I was a bit worried for them when Pyth got that frag with the 5.7, but
likewise.
In fairness, they recovered it very quickly. And it will be Team Orbit trying to battle against the odds once again. Cloud9 setting up into position, very identical setup. You see this time and time again from a lot of teams. You'll have a couple players in Banana, a couple players second mid, try and feel out the opposition and then commit to a site. But actually, Sean Gares going really deep into B, just pretty much waltzing in. He must realize that someone's going to be hiding at the back, and he has spotted Jumpy, so the information will be passed across to the rest of his team. Unbeknownst to him, though, there is one directly to his right-hand side in shadow as well. It's going to be Jumpy that gets dropped first from Sean Gares.
Maxi is still able to get a frag with that USP, and he could get another one here. Way too close. Sean Gares down to half HP based off of, I mean, that's USP shots. It's not like he had a P250 there. So Sean Gares now just on the hunt, looking to see if he can't find somebody else. Pyth waiting around that angle. Is going to get caught, and Hoyten is going to get a second frag. Now, all of a sudden, things are looking pretty good here for Orbit.
Not too bad at all. Especially if he can get himself another frag. That would be icing on the cake. Unable to do so. They still pick themselves off 2 kills. That's going to be 2 drop weapons. And now Team Orbit are going to commit as expected. Maxi with the AWP. FAMAS on Pyth, couple of M4s thrown in the mix. There's a third for Hoyten. And Team Orbit, this is their moment to strike. They have to start bouncing back from here.
Yeah, this is going to be it. I don't think they're going to be too perturbed about what has happened so far at the beginning of this half. It's like you give out the pistol, it didn't go your way in the second round. Third round, you actually did some damage. Now here's the big round. And they have that AWP for Maxi. But again, this is a very dangerous situation for Maxi. They're going to have to fall back. Anti-flashes are going to be crucial to slow him down, because Cloud9 could have gone rushing in to try and get that punish. But the nades have been forced out from Orbit, so they do manage to stop that in time.
The thing about Orbit as well is because sometimes they may have moments of randomness, they may try and play more into their aim duel mentality, they really can catch teams off guard, especially on CT. I've seen them do this a bunch. You have players that will actually go through onto second mid from apps and try and start snake round mid or even snake round T spawn side and get kills. So this is something in the back of Cloud9, bit of a derp nade there from Nothing. Just goes to show he's human after all.
Yeah, he does make mistakes. He's more of a Greek god in that case, I think. You know, they were very human as well. Who would we say? You know, is he Ares? I mean, we'll have to talk more about this. Make a thing out of it.
They could be channeling his inner Ares, I guess, on that last map, but unfortunately, he still lost the war regardless. But they got take 2 here on Inferno. 3-0 for Cloud9. They are a player down with 30 seconds to go, and it looks like it's going to be a B push. Smokes and flashes. Flying on in, a bunch of them. Molotov as well, landing on top of Roke. He's been flashed. He may not know that's on him. And there's Sean Gares with a pick. He will be dropped first. Semfist goes in, serves himself down. Roku's been momentarily silenced. That bomb's going to get planted. 3 on 3. This is going to be a tough one for Orbit to take back. However, they do have the weapons to do it. The thing is, are they actually going to want to try and push in? They need that pick desperately. If they get a pick in the next few seconds, they may think about committing to this one, but it's actually gone completely wrong for them. And Cloud9 stamp their foot down and make it 4-0. No save weapons from Orbit. That's going to sting.
Yeah, that's really harsh there. And that's a situation that can go either way, right? Because they decided to essentially take 3 duels, Orbit. They came in from 3 different angles, and it just so happened that Cloud9, they had one guy holding each of those angles. And this time around, Cloud9, they landed all the shots. Nothing hasn't even died yet. 9-2-0. But that was just a case of Cloud9 winning the duels. And if it comes down to it, if you're missing your shots, you know, you can have all the strategies in the world, but you need to hit the shots before anything can happen.
I'm curious how long it's going to take Pyth to start trying that tactic that I mentioned before, trying to feel out Cloud9, keep them on their tiptoes, not be too predictable on the CT side. Not this round, though. Shroud jumping into apartments, and Maxi is there to greet him, knocks him out.
Doesn't get to save the gun, though, unfortunately, so he's going to be a little bit sad about that.
Gun flew out the window as well, unfortunately for him, but still a kill is a kill. They'll be happy with that one. They stack 3 on B, and it's actually an A push here from Cloud9. Huyten's thinking about maybe moving back, but if Cloud9 strike right now, they should get onto this site pretty comfortably.
And they're going to have that timing. There is a close man. I mean, Pyth has got that P250. He'll be holding a close angle as well on that site, so that could be rather dangerous here. And Maxi in the pit, it looks like, or on Graveyard. But here we go. The push is going to come around this corner through Arch. Adjustment here from Pyth, trying to hold that angle close. He's counting on Maxi to just buy some time. Does not manage to turn in time. However, Shazam with that Tech 9 is going to jump on him. And Huyten now just trying to click away the remaining member on Arch.
Jumpy picks up that kill. The bomb has been planted. Team Orbit desperately trying to resurrect this round, but it's not going to happen just yet. Sean Gez bags himself yet another frag, and Jumpy with the AK, smart play for me. Going to be saving it. No need to rush in a 1v3. The bomb's pretty close to exploding anyway, so he's going to keep that and live to fight for another day.
Yeah, that's a solid hold as well. Could allow them to spend, or at least save quite a bit of money in the next round. Jumpy, yeah, he's at 2,900 right now. I mean, they aren't super rich right now, but they are going to have enough to be able to buy full buy here in the next round, no problem at all on Team Orbit's side. And now we have to see what they're going to go for, because Maxi did get the entry frag on with the AWP in the 4th round. So curious to see if he's going to be able to manage that again and what Orbit would do behind that. Because for a second there, I thought that he was going to get picked off mid, and then he found a gap to work with and managed to get a pick. And, you know, this is the kind of stuff that they have to build on right now, Orbit. But look at this. They're going for a B control play here from Orbit. I like this a lot. This is based off of Maxi, essentially. No smoke, but the Molotov, and he misses the shot, unfortunately.
Does just narrowly miss that one. It does give the game away as well. They're going to know now that Norp is in Banana. They try and push aggressively onto A again. There's 3 players stacked on B from Team Orbit, and this is the best case scenario as well for Cloud9 thus far. They needed a good start, and that's exactly what's been coming their way. Huyten from Apps gets the upper hand onto Sean Gez, but he will be executed from Semphis for his troubles. And that is going to put a bit of a halter onto this A push from Cloud9. Looks like they may be having second thoughts about this one, moving back towards mid. There is a player in Banana waiting, and that's going to be Roke.
Not a bad play from Cloud9, actually. I mean, they looked to see if they could catch a frag early on the A side, take advantage of the 3 players that would be over from B, or 1 man rotating over. Now they're looking to see if an over rotation was made. They managed to get through that smoke in time, but there it is, the 1-for-1 trade, and that's fitting. Question is, right now, they only have 35 seconds left to make this play, Cloud9, and the instant rotation came out from Orbit. Or are they deciding to go for another bluff, another play? They're going for another fake, but now they're just going to have so little time. If Pyth locks this down, it's going to be so difficult to get this plant in time.
We've seen him do crazy things today, that is for sure, but he is down to a very low 20 health. Flashes, grenades, smokes, everything. Trying to block off the approach from Maxi. He's looking at the wrong side of the site, now being planted from nothing while Shazam holds his back. The bomb has been planted. It's a 3-on-2. This isn't impossible from Cloud9, especially as they get the opening pick in this affair. On towards Jumpy. Pyth is very low, aforementioned 20 HP. This is really doable from Cloud9. They've picked up another one. This will be 6-0, and they've sealed the deal. That's a round Team Orbit have to win on CT.
Yeah, that's a round that you cannot afford to lose, especially with all of the different plays, the different fakes that were coming out from Cloud9. Go here, go there, you know, just trying to get the read. It was almost, you know, balance. They were seeking balance, right? You know, it's like, no, we want there to be a stack on one side. We're going to go the other way. Cloud9 just able to get onto that site. Pyth let that happen, but if you're going to let that happen, at that point you have to be able to take the fight and land the shots. And Orbit were not able to do it that time around, even with the man advantage. There's a great nade onto Semphis, though. The close spray, and it is going to be Roke taking 2. So still a 3-on-3 there, but the bomb making its way through, and Orbit heard that. Orbit saw that. They got confirmation, and this bomb plant basically is going to be the trigger for them to start rotating over here, seeing if they can catch somebody out.
And they're running out of their lifelines as well here. They can't keep affording to try and save. They can't keep affording to keep the economy ticking over. At some point you have to start getting rounds. It looks like they've given up on the approach from CT side towards Ruins, and they're actually going to go back towards A. So they're saying, yeah, we're going to keep these weapons. We've got an AWP, we've got an M4, we've got a FAMAS, that's good enough for us, but you're still 7-0 behind at this stage. That is brutal on CT. They won the knife. They wanted to go CT.
You know what, though? I'm not concerned. Because of what we saw in Cash, right?
True.
Clearly, both of these teams are feeling much more comfortable with their T side than their CT side. Because on Cash, same thing. It was almost like we've just flipped it around. All of a sudden, you're getting way more rounds than you should on your T side. And here on Inferno, it's more of the same. Although I would say that it's a bit more dire on Inferno. Like, it is a bit more of a heavy CT side map. So the fact that Cloud9 are sitting on 7, that is a little bit scary. But then Orbit as well, with the very quick plays, could potentially catch a Cloud9 off guard and get just as many rounds in the second half. So it's not over till it's over right here. A missed smoke, though. Missed smoke coming in on that mid. That's good. That could potentially catch Cloud9 off guard.
Landed on the roof rather than blocking off from arches. Oh, Maxi will get the flick shot onto Sean Gares. He tried to have a cheeky peek. Again, this could be Team Orbit's moment to strike, to get their name on that tally, on that scoreboard. The scary thing is, though, that yes, Cash was so back and forth, but we're only 8 rounds into this one. This could easily, if Cloud9 keep going in this momentum, this could easily finish 10 rounds or even more to them. So that's another thing in the back of Orbit's mind. They desperately need to stabilize this. And the other scary thing is, round loss bonus, if they were to win this round and then lose again, sad times.
Catastrophe. That would be the outright, utter catastrophe. Maxi, it's about to get hot. Or did they not use the Molotov there?
I don't believe it was thrown.
Well then.
There we go. Has just been now onto arches. As we're speaking, Maxi was silenced there. So now Cloud9 with 30 seconds to go. They're putting their foot down on the accelerator and they are rushing into B. There's Huiten, there's Jumpy, gets the second kill, looking for his third. He's hungry, but Shazam will take him out. There we go. Team Orbit do get their name finally on the score sheet. They lost 3 players, and as I said, if they lost this round now, Semla, really, really bad situation to be in. They desperately need to start getting that momentum back in their favor, as we saw in Cash.
And the bank as well. They need to get money saved up here. They only have 2,000 at most on 2 players. That is not enough for your CT side Inferno. You need to be able to have enough where you can buy up again or just constantly keep your team equipped. Even if it goes down to a 1v1 clutch situation, you need to have everybody with everything that they need the next round. So you cannot afford to give anything to Cloud9 at this point. And now look at this cheeky boost. Great play. They get out of it in time. There's nothing trying to punish. He does not manage to land that spray, however. And I'm amazed that Rogue even stays there to challenge that. I think that's actually a little greedy, a little risky there.
And maybe
because if you take a bullet to the face, I mean, now you just got your team that man advantage. If you take some random bullet through the smoke to the face, you just negated that advantage. You just gave it back to Cloud9. So I'm amazed that he still challenges that spray like that.
Maybe that's coming back to the point I made before, a bit of lack of experience, maybe just getting taken away with the occasion. You know, we've won the first map, guys, feeling untouchable. Now, I would say that some of those feelings have probably been silenced somewhat of being 7-1 down on CT side, but yeah, they're going to have to stamp out those potential mistakes. He got lucky, got away with it this time. Maxi is low. And again, Cloud9 are congregating in apps with mission, the goal to put... Oh, so unfortunate from Huiten. He actually looked away and dropped at the wrong time. He had that spray down locked if he just stayed in position for 1 more second. I thought we were going to see another 2-in-1 shot there. It was actually both lined up in pit for the AWPer, but Maxi didn't pull the trigger in the end. And Orbit have pulled themselves into a 1v2. It's 15 seconds on the timer. Shroud has to go for this plant, and he's picked it up. Rogue's pushing through the smoke to his right-hand side. I thought just for a millisecond there that Shroud was going to pick it up, but not to be. And the defuse comes in, 2-7.
Nice plant there by Shroud. I mean, that's the important bit as well. He's still getting a little bit of money.
Yeah.
That was real touch and go there. A lot of that actually came off of Shazam getting 2 kills out of pit. Just... You saw it, you noticed it, right? The timing where all of a sudden he turns away just as they come rushing out of apartments, but then the quick frags coming in from Cloud9, managing to kill the man in pit very quickly, and then Shazam starting to take picks off of long. That's what allowed that to even get to the point where it was possible to get a plan. So just these quick plays coming out from Cloud9. Really, I want to see more aggressive plays from Cloud9. They can really try and catch Team Orbit off guard because they have more than enough rounds already in this first half to feel confident, to feel comfortable. Now is when you start throwing the curveballs. Now is when you just try and do fights like this. Yes, okay, this time it didn't work, but they are trying to put a little bit more pressure on Orbit. Keep that pressure up.
Yeah, and it keeps Orbit guessing as well. If you're mixing things up, you stop being predictable, and then Orbit have to start changing their play styles to accommodate that. So, yeah, I'm in full agreement with you. Cloud9 throwing a spanner in the works there. Fair enough, it didn't work out this time, but going forward, maybe this is going to set up a round in the future that they then pick up as a result. So, and this round isn't over just yet. There's still 55 seconds to play with. We've seen Cloud9 pull off these clutches. They still have nothing. They still have Shroud. They still have Semphis. This is doable. Maxi, I feel on Cash, he probably would have landed that shot. A bit unfortunate for him.
Not this time, but I guess the most important thing is, you know, he's still alive.
Yeah, and info as well. But they're going to be pushing onto B. Jumpy up on coils. Try and mitigate that smoke. This time does get rewarded for that. There's Maxi with a nice flick shot onto nothing. Final player remaining is Semphis, not for too long. And that's what we're talking about. Team Orbit need to win, and they need to win without losing players. That's what they've just done. So their bank is starting to build up now.
Yeah, exactly. It's starting to develop a little bit. They're getting to that comfort zone. I mean, Rogue, you know, that's where you want your players to start getting to, you know, the 4,000, 5,000 mark, because then, you know, with loss, you know, you take the lost money on top of that, and you're going to be able to get a pretty healthy buy, right? So they've just reached that point where they have a little bit of a cushion to play with. Now we have Cloud9, and this is, you know, these are some of the plays they can go for. Okay, we started to lose some rounds in a row here, so we're starting to get some bonus money. We'll just even things out with Tech 9s, and who knows, you know, maybe we do get a Tech 9 rush and it actually works.
Be the craziest thing that we've seen in Counter-Strike, and Tech 9s really are, well, I think it's pretty much widely agreed upon that that gun is incredibly strong and may need a bit of a nerf. Would you agree with that statement?
Perhaps.
It's true terror in matchmaking,
man,
for sure.
What we have to do, I think we need to go in the other direction. I think, you know, it's just buff everything, actually. Buff everything up until the level of Tech 9. There you go. Why do we have to nerf everything, man?
That's true. That's a good point. It has seemed to be the way that a lot of things have been approached. You know, CZ, for example, was nerfed horrendously bad. It's pretty good, though, in the right-hand side of the field.
Oh, the CZ is fine.
Yeah.
It's perfectly fine. It's actually just as fine as it was before. It's only now you can't quick swap. So, you know, Oppers may favor another pistol over it. But CZ is still just as powerful, actually. That's the fun thing. It's just, you know, the Tech 9 is now so strong that it overshadows the CZ.
One of the players that's actually taking part here, stepping in for property, I believe, JW, was known for being an AWPer that absolutely relished that CZ.
Yeah, man. But you have certain players, they just make it look broken.
Yeah.
Right? Like Olaf Meister with the Tech 9, JW with the CZ, they just all happen to be on Fnatic. Oh, what? They line up for Maxi?
Unbelievable. Once again, it's that conga line approach that we've been talking about on Cash and now Inferno. And out of nowhere, Team Orbit are going to pick up another round. So 4-7 will be the scoreline. It's not a fantastic CT score, but a hell of a lot better than 7-0 was. And again, they're building up that bank. 8,000 onto Rogue. You got about 7,000 as well, Maxi. They're looking pretty healthy right now.
Yeah, they certainly are. Cloud9, I mean, Cloud9 are now reaching that point where, okay, we've given up 4 rounds. Now we can still be able to piece together buys. If they can get a plant in the next round, they'll be able to get a very healthy buy-in. So, Orbit now, it's that grind. It's the same thing that happened on Cash, basically, keeping the mindset of just 1 round at a time. You have to do your nip impression at this point. They're still keeping them guessing a little bit here on B as well. Molotovs, aggressive smoke, Jumpy nearly walking into a bullet. That is way too close, Jumpy.
He does get tagged down to 45. Maybe lucky to survive with his life, and Shazam coming out on top there. In the AWP duel in mid, just through the smoke, very close. But that could prove to be the determining factor for Cloud9, looking for that all-important 8th round on T side. 1 minute to play with. Again, keeping Team Orbit guessing. This trade is going to make Cloud9 feel so much stronger. There's only 1 player on B watching it right now. 3 towards A, although one of them is Archers, so can quickly rotate. That's Jumpy. Roke's on B. Surprise, surprise. He's always there.
He's pretty much their B player right now. I do like Jumpy's position, but he's also got that AWP. It's going to be a slow rotation, and there you go. They're actually rotating in a second man. So that's going to be the cover right there. Pyth making his way through CT now towards this B side. He's going to make it in time to cross. 30 seconds left, though. So Cloud9, they have to go now, but they're using Shaz. They're using Shazam as the entry. But look at this. You know, Rogue playing this perfectly. This is wasting so much time.
Realizing that he's outmanned right now, he's doing the smart thing, allowing the cavalry to come in. There's Jumpy with the AWP shot on the opposite side of the map, actually, towards mid on A. And now the 2-player lockdown from Team Orbit in effect, but Sean Gares and Shazam, they've only got 5 seconds to play with. Deja vu from Cash, but the bomb will be planted once again. 3 on 2, and Team Orbit looking to push him with Jumpy. He's going around from Garden. All at the back of the site, playing very defensive, playing smart. That's a nice flash, just to keep Jumpy into position for a few more seconds. The dots have not been connected as of yet from Shazam, but the time is ticking down so quickly. Shroud gets the double, and Cloud9 will be ahead regardless of what happens going through to the second half.
That is it right there. And now this is going to force Orbit to start tapping into that bank that they've developed over the last 4 rounds. But yeah, Cloud9, just solid entry frags. I mean, left it down to 30 seconds. Shazam, man, it wasn't even, you know, okay, like, we'll take Shazam and we're going to put him in first, but as soon as Pyth starts to make some noise, that's when they just speed up behind it and just get the 2 entries. This time around, however, it's not going to be Shazam, it's Maxi who's going to win the duel. So Shazam is out of the equation here, and Cloud9 are down a man already at the beginning of this round.
Start from Team Orbit, but they need to keep it up. Mistakes, they have let things slip now and again. That there's Huiten in mid. And the S and S combo that has been so prevalent today has gone down. It's all down to Sean Gez in the blink of an eye, actually. A 5 versus 1. Another very confident round from the Swedes. And a minute to play with. So he's got the AWP. He's going to try and get some frags here. But saving is going to be a very difficult thing to do.
Yeah, that 1v5 scenario is really hard to deal with, right? I mean, these steps as well. He has no idea that Pyth is pushed through apartments. And that's very clean and easy work there for Pyth. But that's off the back of 1 pick early onto Shazam, and then of course then Cloud9 have to try and take a risk basically to get the info, try and return on that frag. 1 flash in mid leads to 2 frags there. Like, it just kind of spins out of control for Cloud9. After that Shazam kill, everything just kind of falls apart. Really, this should not be affecting Cloud9's mindset right now. They're still so far ahead in this map. They really shouldn't be worried about these kinds of rounds, and you can see that because they're forcing up now.
Spray coming through from Jumpy, very nearly gets 2 or 3 frags there. Unfortunate maybe not to get a better showing for his effort. Shroud from Banana, making sure no one gets around the back of them. And everybody from Team Orbit for a couple seconds was stacked on B. Now you can see the Pyth is moving back on A, just in case the re-rotation in this next minute comes to fruition. But again, Cloud9 are holding strong here. They're constantly keeping Orbit guessing. And you can see the Orbit, they're not too sure what to do. Their other player has just started to move back to CT, so they're really unsure of what's about to happen.
They're really keeping them guessing, but now they've got the guns to work with, and because of Jumpy getting a little ahead of himself there, they have a man advantage going into this as well, Cloud9. Huiten's going to take that peek, very quick shoulder peek, just trying to spot them out, and there you go. Very clean kill on the Shazam. That's what has to happen here for Orbit to hold. Huiten with the 2 kill, but now Roke lying in wait, and he's got the bomb in front of him.
There's the first one. He's just got the 1 more player to find and pick off. He does have Pyth coming around from the side as well from Banana. 25 seconds to play with. Nothing has the bomb. And he should be getting this down. He's gone looking towards Banana. That's the correct decision, but Pyth gets the upper hand. Huge round for Orbit. Definitely one they were looking to pick up. And they take it back to 6-8. They really need this as well, though.
That was actually, yeah, exactly. 15th round, still no reason really to criticize, but that was a little bit of a mechanical error there on Nothing's part. You could tell he was going for the fake plant, wasn't quite letting it complete, and then just timing the way that it worked out there. So that's just unfortunate there. That was definitely a round that Nothing could have clutched, but it goes Orbit's way instead. And now we do have a pretty fair shot at Orbit picking up a 7th round. So it's cash all over again, man. What is going on between these 2 teams?
So do we expect double overtime?
Double overtime? Let's we got to go 1 further, right?
Cool. Okay, let's go.
The thing is, if we do that, if we get into that territory, like, this will be the series that never ends, and we still have Cobblestone to come up after this as well. And then I just expect them to go 8-7 on Cobble as well.
Very likely. Very, very likely if we do get that far. However, Cloud9 are going to be looking to put this game to bed as soon as possible. Pop flash through onto Halls. And it's actually not quite as effective as Pyth was hoping. They lined up for him, but it was a 1-for-1. Roke, in the meanwhile, has took down Sean Gez. And Shroud comes back to tip the scales back into balance once again. Equilibrium in place. Maxi's peering through the smoke. He can't see anything. Tries the shot onto Shroud, where the bomb has been planted. No, it's just about to get planted. There we go. So still plenty of time now for the terrorists to try and fend this one off. Roke's going from quad. Other 2 players going to be pushing from library. Smoke is coming in right now, so they're able to somewhat smoke shield away. Pit, Nothing, just laid in wait with a Tech-9, gets 1, looking for the 2nd, he doesn't get the 2nd kill, but Shroud does step up big for Cloud9, and now Maxi in a 1v2, no scope to the face of Shroud, he's gonna go for this defuse, he's got a kit as well, and here comes Stamfist to finish it off, 9-6.
So a 9-6 finish, and just a running battle in that last round as well. But look at how serious they are right now on Cloud9's side. I mean, they don't even look like, it's like, okay, guys, yeah, we did it, right? We came out ahead, and they just look so rock solid focused at this point because they know they're behind. They know they needed a big performance like that to get them back into this series. So this is it. Now, Cloud9, they are not allowed to not make it out of the group phase. As far as they're concerned, that would just be like the utmost failure, and I'd even be concerned for like the integrity of the team at that point. So like if they don't make it through this best of 3, that would be such a big upset for them. So an enormous amount of pressure on Cloud9's shoulders right now, I think, in this match.
Yeah, and almost a point to prove to themselves as well, because as I said previously, with them getting knocked out in the group stages of both DreamHack Winter 2014 and IEM Katowice, they have a point to prove to themselves, to prove that they can get through the group stage. They can go towards the finale. And they're a team that I would say a lot of people may not think would necessarily be favourites to take this tournament, but definitely towards the top 3 or 4 teams in here to go all the way.
Oh, absolutely. Cloud9? Yeah, without a doubt. I'd be massively concerned for Cloud9 if they were actually in Group A, for example, with like Property or something like that. I would say that Property could take them out. It just so happens that Property happened to be with, Group A, which is, Nip Envy, so it's a little grim for them. They got into Group B. They have VP to contend with, but right now, Orbit are definitely putting up a very strong fight, and quite surprised to see, Cloud9 struggling this much. Well, we shall see here how things develop into the second half as Orbit, and there it is, Semphis, man. 2 clicks, takes out Python Maxi both.
Just like that, easy peasy. That should give Cloud9 the utmost advantage to take this one home. On CT side now, of course, roles have been reversed. Orbit going to be pushing through mid, looking for some picks, looking for Huyten with that Tech-9 again, taking a leaf out of Cloud9's book to make something happen. Through the smoke, he does just that onto nothing. There's still an uphill climb for them, though, to pull off. Shroud with all the information, calling for the rest of his teammates. It's an Archer's push, and now 3 very angry Swedes are going to be pushing on his location. May think about going to A, may have half a mind to maybe double back towards B, but it looks like A is the bomb site of choice. And Cloud9 lay in wait. They've got Shroud here on site. They've got Shazam in the pit, and Shazam opens up with a quick fire double. And they do seal the deal there with the 3rd. Very nicely done by the NA team. And now Team Orbit need to go back to the drawing board.
Exactly. Team Orbit now. I mean, drawing board, I don't think that drawing board, it's like 1, 2, 3, 9. Right, there it is. That's as far as the drawing board goes, right? They just have enough paper to be able to do a circle and then have a little loop going down below it, because that's exactly what's going to happen. If they don't get the plant, it's silly at this point not to go for a Tech-9 Kevlar buy. So Team Orbit, they're not messing around. They're going to go straight for that. A couple flashes to work with as well, and this is definitely just going to be the straight train. This is like the Glock train on steroids.
Exactly what the case seems to be, and Pyth somehow gets the upper hand onto Sean Gares, who really was in position to strike with a vengeance and pick up a hatful of frags, but instead he goes down, bomb's been planted, and Team Orbit in a great position to fend this one off. They've got the UMP from the corpse of Sean Gares. Maxi opens up with the Tech-9. He's going to be able to actually keep himself alive as well. I thought he may get returned on. Jumpy is going to come good with that Molotov. And now it's on a 4-on-2. Make that a 4-on-1. Just nothing remains. And this is how you eco. This is how you go with that Tech-9 buy and make it work. Yes, nothing is getting frags, but he didn't have enough time to get on site and defuse. Huge round from the Swedes.
They got pinned down. They overcommitted at that point, Cloud9. By the time that they managed to get into construction, there was no backing out for them, as we saw. Shroud gets picked off. That's it. The glory right there is the fact that they were not contested Banana, that they were given control of Banana fairly early on, so Orbit were able to just pile together at the entrance to B, and then it's just like 1 flash, 2 flash, go. And just spray and pray at that point, right? And the Tech-9 is just so powerful in these kinds of scenarios. So many bullets that Orbit just could not be stopped. But that is a bit of an error, right? Cloud9, they cannot play scared. They have to get the info, and a bit of a peek there as well by the FAMAS holding Shazam. Into Apartment's trying to just get that kind of information right there, something that will actually allow them to make the proper call when it comes to defending the site.
And that's why Tech-9 is so deadly. Like, as you say, like the pain train just steamrolling ahead into B. And there could be a sense of saying, Sean Gares in a great position to silence that push. At the same time, though, when you have 3 players pushing with a Tech-9, it's much easier said than done.
Oh, yeah. No. Well, apparently the example used is, just use the FAMAS. The FAMAS, well, there you go. That's what happens, right? It's like you've got 3 of them coming at you. They're all just spewing 1,000 bullets. Like, it's a very difficult situation to deal with holding up close like that. So, I mean, adjustments to be made. We'll see how things play out. So Cloud9 just goes straight back into a buy themselves. They go for actually a combination. I like this. You know, 2 CZs, 2 5.7s. You have some good variety there. And Team Orbit are playing this down to a T. They're sticking together. It's more run and gun, just moving as a unit.
But nothing is there. Watching Speedway. He gets 1, gets 2. Great trade for him. CTs will be very happy with this one. And now Sean Gez is the man that steps up. He only gets the 1 frag. But again, they're trading very well, considering it was pretty much pistols against assault rifles. Pyth. Eviscerate Semphis. Beautiful double. I've seen that before from him on Cash in particular. And there is Shroud to answer back. It's a 1-on-1, but look at Rogue's health. He's got 3 HP. A gust of wind would take him down at this point. And Shroud is moving onto his position, gets the kill. And Cloud9, just with pretty much pistols, take the round. Unbelievable.
The round back. And that was just, I think nothing is basically the king there. If nothing doesn't get those 2 kills on Speedway, the defense, yes, okay, holding in the corner there in CT, that can be effective, but you're probably only going to get the 1-for-1 before you're overrun. And the same thing for the position on short on oranges, or rather not on short, but on oranges like that, the 1-for-1. I think the main thing there is just nothing getting a 2-for-1 trade. Like that was just huge play by him, playing behind that pillar, just dodging around with the 5.7. So Cloud9, and now they get out. But guess what? Guess what? It's another buy. It's just like ecos don't happen anymore, right? It's just like buy, keep buying, keep that pressure up. Orbit are just going to continuously throw punches at Cloud9.
And they will trade like 2 heavyweight boxes in the center of the ring, 2 for 2. So again, they had pistols. Now they've got themselves into a better position. Can potentially go up to Banana and pick up one of those weapons if they choose. But actually, it's Hoyton who's in the app side of things. He's going to be looking to push through right now. Shroud is there. Going to be throwing up the grenade. That's not going to tag too heavily. Cloud9 have to dig in deep here for the next minute. Orbit, everything really rests on how they want to approach this round. They could go either way, but Shazam from Arches is going to get 1. Did he see the bomb drop? Maybe. And now he's going to get forced away from Arches as the smoke lands on top of him. Maxi going through Library. A game of cat and mouse between these 2 teams, and somehow it's Shazam that comes out on top, and he will not get the 2nd kill. I thought he did have it in the bag just for a few moments there. 35 seconds for Hoyton to 1v2. He's got the bomb. That's the good news. But he's got very low HP, and nothing is going to take him down once again. And Cloud9 move 5 rounds ahead of their Swedish counterparts.
And at the end there, I think, is the hesitation that played the biggest factor there, fear for Orbit, because they were together as a unit. That's, you know, I'm like, okay, they're going up short together, all 3, right? That's designed so that if one of them dies, the other gets the revenge frag, and they keep rolling. They keep the momentum up. So long as they're trading kills with the CT side, it will always favor them. But the fact that they lose that guy, and then they kind of just stand there and stop still, that's a big problem. Like, Shazam needed to die right there immediately at Arch for there to be a good shot for Orbit to get onto that site. They just took a series of duels and lost them all. So that's not going to be what gets you the round here versus Cloud9 right now. Cloud9 are starting to get fired up, and there it is. You know, the game of chicken, that brawl, finally one of them had to throw in the towel and say, okay, that's it. You know, pistols, I'll just go with Glocks, you know. And a couple Deagles, but, you know, Glocks.
Deagles aren't really doing too much for them right now, as they are being pushed in. They do force away Archer's player from CT, but nothing is going to come back. He does get himself taken out. I would definitely have bet on him coming out ahead in that exchange. But still, Team Orbit are 2 players, make that 0 remaining. And Shroud with a quick fire double gives them the 13 points. So if things keep going this way, you are going to be seeing Cobblestone in the very near future.
Exactly. Actually, it's looking very likely. It's also looking like the curse will be broken for Cloud9. You know, they'll show that they can win on Inferno. Like, it is possible. So let's see. I mean, they're 3 rounds away, but Orbit are not out of this just yet. They've got a good buy here coming in with the AK. Shazam in mid. Takes that peek and does not connect.
That could potentially come back to haunt them there. He went for the 2nd time. There was smoke down there on that occasion. But Orbit, once again, they're getting a lot of real estate here. They're constantly pushing into apps, and by and large, they're locking it down. The problem is, though, that after they get into apps, they don't really do anything with that. They just kind of... And that's one of the downfalls about... I'm not going to say downfall, but it's one of the negatives about playing T's on Inferno, is you do sometimes get just caught in apps. It's very difficult to break through after you've got that on your side.
Seems like it's going to be just a short push here. The one thing, this is all about just getting info and getting frags if they can. Forcing Cloud9 to use their gear as well, because Cloud9 are starting to run a little bit low on the nades. Just a single smoke on Sean Garris, for example. There's a great shot by Max. He takes Shazam. Shazam never knew what hit him there.
Yeah, just out of the shadows. Stepped Maxi. Semphis is going to somewhat balance it back on towards A with a frag from Arches, but you can see now that the Swedes are content. They are hungry to push up onto B. There's a smoke there that's stopping them just for now. There's the flashbang. 30 seconds on the timer. Orbit they have to pretty much commit to this. They can't afford to go back to A. There's nowhere near enough time, but you can see around the backside. Here comes Jump. He is looking for a frag. Huiten gets the first one. There's Sean Gares from back boxes, though, to equate this push. He gets another one, but Huiten's there and takes him down with ease. It's a 2-on-2. The bomb is being planted, does get dropped down. There's nothing. I would have expected him to pick that frag up. Jumpy will get the upper hand, and now it's all on Shroud. He is a man that's been performing a lot better on Inferno than he did on Cash. But a 1v2 with the bomb down. They've got good crossfire. They've just flashbanged him to the face. And he's being tagged up left, right, and center. 48% left on his life. And time is ticking down. Huiten's playing this so well. He's just baiting out like a game of cat and mouse once again. And there we go, finally. They lock down the round. Oh man, they're really playing with every second here this week.
Yeah, they are. What a round right there. I mean, exactly. Getting the plant with like 10 seconds left. Sean Gare's doing the best that he could, but it was an impossible situation for him to be in. I mean, as soon as he peaks, he gets caught. I think the big thing there is that Cloud9 do make the right call eventually. Semphis was a very smart play, rotating off of Arch so quickly over to B, only to get shot in the face immediately. Like the first entry onto that site, leaving Sean Gares alone. If Semphis could have stayed alive a little bit longer at the beginning, that could have been, you know, Team Orbit getting locked out of the map or locked out of that bomb site, just not getting a chance to plant at all. So just really close round there for Orbit, but they do manage to take it in the end. Nothing also with a little bit of a full YOLO like push through the smoke, just trying to catch them before they can get into after plant position. So really it's just a series of things where with a little bit of luck, it's Cloud9 who come out ahead in that round. But that time around, Lady Luck favored Orbit.
Maybe a bit of light at the end of the tunnel there for Team Orbit. Pulled it back to 8 rounds on the board. Cloud9 with a mixed bag once again of bias cut. 3 CZs actually.
Look at this bait and switch. This is Shroud just staying very quiet. His teammate had made noise running away, trying to bait Huiten in, but Huiten doesn't take it.
Smart play again, very disciplined team here. Team Orbit, Molotov lands. Semphis is going to be A-OK, and now it looks like with the flashbang, they're going to start to rotate back towards B again, playing with every single second. 35. Sean Gares is there by himself. You can see a very quick rotate, though, from the rest of the NA team through Speedway towards B itself. But Jumpy's going to get a kill with the Molotov. Pyth as well chimes in. Semphis is going to answer back. Bombs being planted, though, from Orbit. And they're in the player advantage only for a couple of moments, as nothing with that CZ will reign supreme on top of Huiten. However, Semphis is very low and nothing has just been dropped. This should be a 9th round on the board from Team Orbit. They don't want to lose any more players, otherwise the bank is going to be affected, and they do lose another player. There's Jumpy to seal it for the Swedes. But at quite a big cost, actually. 3 weapons were dropped in that process.
Far too close for comfort there, that's for sure. Losing 3 players like that, I mean, they're going to be able to buy around, like, they're going to be able to buy up. And at this point, they're like Orbit, they would love to have the bank, but they're really just like round after round after round. That's all we can think about right now. So them getting that round on the board is more important at this point. Like, they actually managed to keep it together. Cloud9 also doing just tremendous work with a force buy on their part, pretty much, you know, with CZs and whatnot. But still, solid work so far from both teams. In fact, now it comes down to this round right here. I think this is going to be the big difference maker. I think Cloud9 could have even, like, seeing as how they've had to force with 2 FAMASs and they're very limited on nades, wondering if they couldn't even have given an extra round. You know, another round here of a bit of like a CZ, you know, 5-7 buy, just to make sure that they had a full buy going into this one, like Shazam with an op and full nades for everybody with kits.
Yeah, I definitely agree, because they're still 13-9 up. Even if they were to lose the round, it'd be 13-10, then they're in a good position to buy up.
It's confidence, and that's telling you that Cloud9 are still not 100% sure on themselves.
Again, history, hopefully for the NA team, will not repeat itself, and they can close this one out and take it to Cobblestone. Sean Gares with a double, 1 molly, 2 M4 frags now. He goes down, but damage has surely been done. Huiten's all that remains. He's being encircled by CTs. He's somehow still alive. There we go. Finally gets dropped through the smoke.
Nice read by Semphis at the end.
As you say, a huge round there, and Cloud9 coming out very, very comfortably in the end.
That's it. Sean Gares right there with the individual performance, really just being able to catch them out. And then the Molotov Pyth desperately just trying to get through there. But then the rest of his teammates coming in one at a time, and Sean Gares really doing a fine job of controlling his aim. that boils down. Sometimes rounds do boil down to just this guy kept his cool and landed all the shots, and there you go. It's as simple as that.
Great positional play, and that's going to force Team Orbit into 3 Tech-9s. They have full armor on everybody. Just a couple of grenades there. 1 smoke, 2 flashbangs, and Shazam's going to pick up the first kill. Demolishes through Orbit once again. There's Shroud. Team Orbit, they have a lot of time to think about this one, but they're 2 players down. This is not a good position for them. Flashbangs onto Archers. Will start to pull themselves back. Looking towards Archers now. Nothing. Realizes that danger is imminent and moves himself into a better position. There's no reason to risk it when you're 2 players to the good. And he's going to come back for seconds, but Pyth with that 5-7 unleashes. Nothing's going to get a double. Could very well make it a triple. There we go. And Cloud9 have themselves 6 map points.
That's it, exactly. 6 map points, and just, again, nothing. He just catches them lined up, and then he just calmly takes care of the rest. I mean, nothing with some, well, he's actually nearly dropping another 30 bomb. He got up to like 38, I think, in the on cash, and on this one, he's looking like another 2 frags here in this round. Nothing, drop another 30, okay. And we have a 3rd map to look forward to on Cobblestone as well. Show's not over. But this is going to be the straight run and gun here. Tech-9 all the way for Team Orbit, and Max, he's just going to catch Shazam off guard.
A pain train again that we saw previously. They have got 2 opening frags, and they do have themselves an AWP in the process of doing just that. The bomb is heading towards A, and it should be planted. There is going to be Semphis there to meet them in the middle. From Quad. Look at this, they're pretty much stuck on the site. They can't do a great deal about this one, but Rogue does rhyme out with the AWP once again in a position you didn't expect him to do so. They're lining up, though, for Cloud9, and nothing is going to oblige. Gets himself another 3 kills in that round, and he does drop the 30.
And that was a team kill as well there, unfortunately. That's going to sting. I think it was Huiten taking out Rogue, so a little bit of help going their way at the end. But there you have it. Cloud9, they keep their hopes alive. Their manager, Trey, smiling. I mean, that's got to be a big weight off their shoulders now going into this 3rd map, Cobblestone, where essentially anything is possible. Now, I'm wondering what came into play, if it was, a little bit of that lack of experience for Orbit, their ability to close out the game and really lock down their CT side. Because we saw them actually break the mold on Cash. It was all about the T side, right? These T side halves, the CT side's apparently not managing to do as much. On Inferno, however, this time around, Cloud9, T side really strong, and then CT side, just brick wall. Didn't really seem like Orbit were able to get too much done.
One of the problems, no one really stood out to me on Team Orbit. No one really stood up to the plate and delivered fantastically well. We saw Pyth dropping some crazy plays on Cash in particular. And whereas on Cash, everyone was kind of performing to a decent level, this time around, I don't know, it just didn't seem to ever get off the tracks from them. They were 7-0 down at the end of the day on CT side after winning Knife. That's never a great foundation to build.
No, that's brutal. That's brutal. That's not how that's not how it's supposed to go for them. And it's actually really difficult to come back from that scenario. So still, congratulations to Orbit for actually managing to pick up the 1st map and also put up a bit of a fight. But now it's going to be about Cobblestone, guys. So we're going to take a very short commercial break here before we get into our 3rd map of the first best of 3 of the day.
This is for
all starting to blur together, man. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Gfinity Spring Masters 1, the first tournament to be held this year out of this new location here live in London. But we are about, well, you know, 2/3 of the way through our first best of 3 of the day, right? We're 2 maps in, and we've got Cobble ahead of us here. Metas, what do you think about this? You know, so far the performance, but also what we can expect on this last map.
It's been craziness. It's been absolute craziness. You know, a lot of people expecting Cloud9 to kind of walk away with this game, I'd say, or at least 2-0 it fairly comfortably. Yep. That's not been the case. Fair enough, Inferno was a lot more comfortable for them. Overall, I would say, it's kind of back to business. 7-0 start was great. First map, though, if you missed it, you missed an absolute cracker of a map. Fantastic. And I actually think that Cobblestone could go a very similar way. I can see this going right down to the wire, potentially even over time. It's that close for me.
It feels like it could be that close, right? I mean, you're right. Absolutely, guys. If you want a good match, it was the perfect match to start the day off. Overtime on cash, down to the wire the entire way, and nothing plays like a straight-up god. Pyth does, too. It's the perfect balance. It's exactly how we wanted to start things. But now, going into Cobblestone, this is where it gets kind of fun, right? This gets where it's a little bit interesting because, you know, it's like Orbit. Are they going to be good on this map? I think that's the main question mark right now because we've seen Cloud9, we've seen that they can play the map a little bit. We know that they've been focusing on it for the majors, but have Orbit put in that amount of time into this map right now?
I feel like if Orbit maybe revert back to some of their aim star mentality that I've seen in the past, Cobblestone can actually be quite strong for them. If you're starting to rush out, especially on T side, I mean, I can see them picking up quite a few rounds that way. Okay. The thing is, though, how does Cloud9 react to that? Do they have the set stuff? You'd assume that they do, of course, have that in their locker. So I think it's just going to be, once again, this clash of different kind of play styles. And whoever, basically, it's as redundant as this seems, this is the way it's been so far. The better team has won both maps. It's been that simple. There hasn't been any huge upsets. There haven't been luck rounds or anything like that.
That's
the
valid.
better overall team, I should say, has came through, especially on Inferno. That was just craziness.
See, that's the thing, man. Shaz, he was feeling a little low. Went and get a giant hot dog. They have these giant hot dogs outside. But I agree with you. But it feels like a lot of the time it's been more of a slugging match than anything between these two teams. You know, better in because you can say better, but then it's like better in which sense, right? And it certainly hasn't been tactical. I think it hasn't been that. It's just been, you know, the aims, the straight up aim fights, and then the snap decisions that are made. And you know, Cloud9 have shown that they're capable of kind of running around and taking some risks, and also, you know, going for the mind games like we saw originally, right in the pistol, where they went one way, then they went to the other side, then they just back and forth, bouncing all over the place. But at the end of the day, it's like nothing dropping a 30 bomb, right? And so these guys just landing crazy shots.
Yeah, I mean, you put it in a much better way than I was trying to, which was, it hasn't necessarily been like the better teams won, it's just been the better aim, the better tactics at that moment have won. And this is, again, this is a fresh slate. You know, both teams can come into this map now. Look, it's 1-1. This is basically, at this point, a best of 1. You know, everything else is off. They don't matter. It's all down on Cobblestone. Let's do it. So I'm very interested to see, first of all, which team steps up to the plate, because there's a lot of pressure. Again, the loser of this is likely going to come out bottom of the group, I'd say.
Yeah.
So this is a massive pressure cooker situation for both teams.
Oh, I think Infused or another team, you know, it's like if Orbit are playing at this level right now, really keeping Cloud9 on their toes, I think Infused could actually surprise some people because apparently VP struggled quite a bit with them last night. It wasn't exactly like the VP stomp that a lot of us were expecting. Or Infused were able to put up a solid fight. They'll be waiting in the lower bracket match. So
I believe it was 16-10 both maps.
yeah, that was it, 16-10. There were a couple of very close scenarios.
I do, however, wonder how much delays, how much that factored into the end result.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to build momentum when you're, you know, waiting around and there's problems here, there, and everywhere. But yeah, I mean, they said themselves, Infused were actually surprisingly very good. So it just goes to show, you never quite know in Counter-Strike. Either way, I think we're just about ready to jump live here in the knife round.
This is looking like the knife round. Yes, it is. Although, for some reason, they decided to skimp. Okay, there we go. Full Kevlar. Rogue does not get Kevlar, so hopefully he doesn't get shanked too much. It's going to be brutal. This always feels like so dramatic on Cobble as well, in particular, you know, that line standing at the top of the hill. Come get some. I think this is going to be a big one here. If Orbit are able to pick it up again, pick up the knife round like they did on Inferno, it might get pretty rough here for Cloud9 having to start out on T side of Cobble. Don't think that they're going to have it as dialed in as they do on Inferno, for example.
Now, interesting enough, I've never actually seen Orbit play this version of Cobblestone. I've seen them play the last one. They're pretty good overall. So I'm very curious to see how they're actually going to perform on this new version.
Over?
Yeah, if they're going to keep going forward with that, because there was quite a few fairly big changes to the map overall.
Absolutely. Well, the map totally like plays completely differently now.
Yeah.
Well, Shroud is going to be able to close it out for Cloud9, so they will get the choice, and I'm sure that they're going to stay CT. But that long hallway, I mean, the elimination of the sniper nest in mid, I mean, a lot of the more random scenarios or rush spots have been altered somewhat. So it really does change up how you hold the B site. It's harder to hold these long lines with the AWP as well because, you know, I think it's a small joke on Valve's part. You know, they're like, oh, you want wooden doors? Great, you can have it on cobble, right? You can have them on cobble. So you have wooden doors on the map that are now cutting up these long lines that used to be held by oppers. So a lot of changes have been made, spawn positions as well. But it looks like right now, Orbit, they're interested in going for a quick B play.
That would definitely seem to be the case. They're going to go down to drop to just find Shazam there, laid in wait. Does get one there, Shroud as well. Huiton comes back and Roku chimes in. It's just pretty much blow for blow, the same way these previous two maps have gone. And it seems that Cloud9 are going to come out ahead. Nothing is very low in hit points. Semphis at full, and Pyth does not have the bomb. This is a precarious position at best for him. He has plenty time to play with, but the problem is, as soon as he walks through towards the bomb itself, he's going to come under heavy duress, heavy fire. He did spot a player, I believe, there, and had a quick pot shot across, but that's all it was at the end. A lot of work to do.
He knows there's a Tech 9 there. He knows he has the time, and look at this. He even manages to snag the bomb. Free plant for Pyth. What a mind game coming out from him. That smoke there to buy more time, and now Cloud9 have to know what's up. Now Cloud9 are rotating through, picking up gear as best they can. Another smoke picked up for nothing. The kit is on Semphis. He's got Kevlar as well, so they have all the gear they need, Cloud9, but Pyth has now had time to set up a position here to catch them out.
And he has the Tech 9. This is the scary, scary thing right now for Cloud9. I'm so surprised they allowed him to pick that bomb up. And he's going to get both of the kills. Pyth exploding again. And gives Team Orbit a huge round there on the pistol.
Yeah, just incredible, man. Pyth just continues to impress, and he goes, what is he doing now?
Yeah, that sure is an SG.
Yeah, but like, you're breaking the rules, man. Only NBK buys that. Like, what's going on here? I love Pyth, though, man. That is just a great play from him. I mean, definitely one of the big talents in Sweden. Hasn't been elected to play on any of the bigger teams, but he's always shown that, you know, he has the potential. Just needs to get more experience under his belt, essentially. That's what the general consensus is. So clearly, man, his aim is dialed in. So far in this best of 3, he has done some phenomenal work.
And that, as a whole as well, you know, you could draw the kind of correlation to Team Orbit itself, that one of their downsides is they lack the experience when it comes to LANs playing together. So if they can just get that experience and start moving together like a well-oiled machine, they really can pull off these upset performances as they are doing right now. Cloud9 do get a kill back in Semphis with that scout. He's looking for a second one, misses the first shot, lands the second, and Sean Gares mops up. So it's down to a 3-on-2. This is Cloud9's round, surely. Semphis with a beautiful one-click to the face of Maxi. Roke will answer back in the only way he knows how, and that's with frags. 36 seconds. The bomb is down next to Van. And Roku's picked himself up another kill. Can he pull off what Pyth did just before? Has he proved to be an inspirational figure for the Swedes once again, just ducking underneath that scout, really playing with fire? And as of yet, it's been yet to be burnt. Shroud, he's desperately trying to get himself into close enough proximity to land that headshot, but there's really nothing that he can do right now. Rogue's picked up the bomb. He's going to go and plant it on A. Plenty time to play with here. Another 5 seconds before the time would have run out, and now Shroud is pushing. This could be a huge clutch from Rook, and it is! Oh my goodness, this second round in a row, the Swedes have stepped up in a round that really looked like it could be slipping away from them.
Yeah, it's just so close at the end, and I'm surprised that Shroud, I'm surprised that the triple scout actually came that close to working as well. I was not expecting to see that much damage being dealt by Cloud9, but Semphis just playing like a god around that van, just constantly dodging around the corner, trying to close the distance and just get those shots in. Shroud just decided to switch, and that was a timing issue there that really led to him his downfall in that 1v1. Sean looking to rectify things. He's going to pick up his frag max. He's going to find one of his own Pyth as well. And they're all chiming in here now on the T side, but this is expected. Anti-eco round from them. It should be pretty clean work. Only losing one. This should be the line. You know, they should not lose a single person more here.
Looking on cruise control. Shroud has to back on off, tag down a 23 HP. Just going to be chilling out around doors. And this bomb is about to be planted, and now Shroud has to try and get a move on. He's only got a P250. No real reason to go ahead and save that weapon. He wants to get some picks off if he can. Maybe even exit frags after this bomb is due to explode. There's no hope of him getting onto that site. I mean, as good as Shroud is, a 4-on-1 with a P250 up against 4 AKs, no. I don't think even Nothing could pull this off the way he's been playing.
Oh man, Nothing. Curious to see if he's going to be able to keep up that streak. I mean, 3 maps in a row, top fragging like that, it's hard to do. You do run out of, the adrenaline starts to fade a little bit. You start running out of that focus. So we'll see if Nothing is going to be able to take point here for Cloud9 in the 4th round bye that's about to come up. That's going to be the biggest thing here. Shroud, I mean, Shroud, you could even go so far as to say like he's running away at this point just to make sure that they don't even get an extra $300 off of his death, right? So Shroud going to live. And there isn't enough money to buy an AWP. So Cloud9, they're going to have to go with straight rifles.
Try and dig in deep here, play super defensive on the sites, and they even try a cheeky peek here or there as well. You never quite know with these guys, but it seems to be the former rather than the latter. Shazam will be having a quick peek towards mid. Does get a lot of information there for his troubles, and doesn't get dropped either. Oh, Maxi does get a tag. He's been flashed. Is he going to get pushed there through the smoke? No, not quite just yet. Nothing does open up. And a very near chance there, a near opportunity for Cloud9 to strike. Are Team Orbit going to go ahead and rinse and repeat from that last map where they went down 0-7? They're going to return the favor now onto the NA team. It doesn't look likely. Cloud9 are starting to move into position. They are getting the frags here. 3 have dropped from Team Orbit. Pyth and Jumpy, all that remain. And Cloud9 have just picked off Jumpy. 4-on-1 situation. Pyth does have the bomb, but he's got an AK with armor. He wants to save this. He's got the first frag though, and he's going to start to back on off.
Look to change up that angle, see if he can't find a work around. There is a flank coming in here. He's going to walk right into it though, and Nothing. Perfect position for him to pick up that final frag. But this was a lot of hesitation on Orbit's side, I think. After the initial aggression that came out from them, I think the big thing is they just weren't able to pick up a frag early. And so the strat, it seems, was like a go into mid, go through mid, and try and see if you can catch somebody off guard. And once that wasn't accomplished, once they didn't find anybody, they're kind of like, okay, what do we do now, right? And it was the same impression that I got from G2 yesterday, where there's just a little bit of hesitation on the side of the team as to what to do next. And if that comes in, then that's going to be a problem versus the team of, of the likes of Cloud9. They won't let you just get away with, hesitating in these kinds of scenarios. You need to commit to pushing through mid, or you need to just start backing off and finding something else. The slow push was not the way.
And could that be indicative, do you think, of maybe not having a huge amount of experience on Cobblestone and having strats and things set for it?
That's what my worry, right? Because, Orbit, they're playing in the qualifiers and they are trying to play in the online leagues, etc. So they are going to work Cobblestone. But, for the last few weeks, Cloud9 just came out of a boot camp where Cobble was probably one of the main focuses of that boot camp, right? So they're going to be up to date and dialed in on this map. Just going to be a question of whether Team Orbit can pick up a couple more rounds, because at least they picked up the pistol. They have that much going for them.
Looking to push on towards the B site now. You can see there that Nothing has been absolutely obliterated, trying his best to stay in contention to get himself a few frags when they drop down. He's in a good position to do so if they don't have a quick peek there, and that's exactly what he's going to do. The rest of his team, in the form of Shroud mainly, do come to his aid, and Nothing could potentially close this one off. I thought he was a goner for sure. Roku with a beautiful double kill though. He's going to make that round sting a tiny bit for Cloud9, but still, job done for them. Nicely done by Shroud.
And speaking of G2, right? That's what we saw yesterday, G2 versus NIP. That same exact scenario where they push out and then they get caught on plateau, T-side team, right? Where it's G2 trying to push through on the defense with Forrest just locking him down on long. We just saw that. Nothing playing the same position that Forrest plays. Actually, get right, from the site. These sorts of situations, there was a lot of overlap there. But Orbit just getting slowed down.
Sampis is going to get himself 2, and he's looking for more. Third is at it as well, and Huiton is surely going to be the 4th player to get dropped. There we go. And Nothing will steal away the ace, as it's gone back to a 3-on-3.
It has. Okay, then the crowd is hyped. You know why? Shazam's got an AWP.
Because it's the 3rd map here of the first day. You couldn't ask for a much better game than this to start things off.
Oh, Shazam disappoints the crowd. That's it.
Yep.
Oh, and the counter boost actually coming through there. Jumpy not going to manage that. Or that's Shroud, rather. Jumpy getting a little ahead of himself. Good hold there by Sean. He gets the second one as well. Lands that shot. And that is perfect. That has actually been a little bit of an overextension from Team Orbit, and it certainly did not pay off.
Certainly didn't. And this is the kind of moment that we were talking about before, where their initial attack gets countered and then they don't really know what to do next, and they're caught in two minds. And again, they've got two players left. It seems like they're going to try and both push towards the B side, but the problem is that nothing is there. And I was going to say they're going to line up for him, but actually Maxi somehow will silence him and get the second kill, so hold the phone. I thought this was a clear-cut round for Cloud9, but if anything has been taught to me of these last two maps is never trust what's in front of your eyes in this game. Anything can happen. Maxi gets yet another one, and now it's all on Semphis, and he only has 22 HP to play with.
Incredibly difficult situation. Maxi with the quad kill. And all of this, I mean, nothing dying in that scenario I could be all right with, because Sean Gares is going for the gamble. He's saying, okay, they're going to think, because this is Nothing's position that I'm standing in, now that they've killed Nothing, they may for a split second think this area is clear, and they'll just go jumping over me to go straight to that bomb site. It just so happens that the spacing, how it worked out, the first player jumped in front of Sean, but Maxi jumped behind him, and easy kill for Maxi. And at that point, it's such a difficult situation for Cloud9 to come back from. So very clean round there from Orbit, just a little bit of a wink, a little bit of a nod, and they get the job done. 4 rounds on the board for them now, and that's going to put Cloud9 in a bit of an awkward position, because now Cloud9 have had to really tap into that bank that they've been developing throughout these past 3 rounds.
There is Maxi is the only player to drop so far. Huiten is very low as well, and again, this is where Team Orbit have seemingly struggled. They are ahead though in terms of rounds, 4-3 to the good. This is looking like it could be a 4-4 scoreline, especially as Jumpy just gets headshotted through there from Sean Gares. Fair as well, Cloud9, apart from that last round, which is kind of the spanner in the works, have done a pretty good job. When they've got a couple kills, they have generally locked things down, as Shazam misses that shot into mid. Could prove to be pretty detrimental for his team, but not if Semphis has something to say about it. Gets himself a quick fire double kill and gets the triple. No, he doesn't actually. The flashbang potentially saves Rogue's life, and he will now back on off and get shot in the backside from Sean Gares. 4-4 is the scoreline.
For some reason, I had the feeling that he just, tapped out, let's go, LET with the Tech-9. But okay, maybe it was just luck. Maybe I'm imagining things. Orbit right now, they're on the line. They're going to keep trying to pressure. I like this as well, just because they can't afford to go for it. The all-out YOLO push looks like they want to try and head over towards B. This is great. Go on too long. Don't waste any time. Make it look like you're going to go jump, but then just try and get in Nothing space fast. And let's see now if the defense is going to hold for Cloud9.
That's the question. That's going to be definitely poised against them, and so far so good for them. Nothing and Shroud have both got themselves a kill. There's Nothing again, gets himself another one. Looking good right now for Cloud9, and they get the clean sweep. So they managed to repel that fast push onto B and lose no players in the process, which is only money in the bank as far as they're concerned.
And that's one thing, actually. I think Cloud9 are a team that play well off of knowing the situation, right? And so they would feel like, okay, we've got Molotovs, we've got smokes, we got flashes, we got everything we need. This round is going to work just like it does in practice. And that's when you have the players like Nothing, etc., who really shine. They're just going to be able to lock down that site because everything is going according to plan. Orbit went for a rush, they ran into the anti-rush play, and there you go. That's just a very clean counter by C9.
I'm a bit surprised there with a few players dropping down into the drop zone. They weren't able to actually get the frag onto, I think it was Sean Gares that was pulling himself back there. Yeah, now he's occupied the same position that he killed Jumpy in that last round. Throws the flash in, Molotov as well. And they're actually boosting just to get the hell out of there. It's a very claustrophobic environment for Team Orbit, and they have managed to successfully get themselves out of dodge for now. They have sustained quite a bit of damage themselves though, and now moving towards A.
It's got to be pretty sad for Huiten, actually. It's like, you are going to be, we're abandoning you.
Forever alone.
Leave no man behind? Yeah, right. Oh, and he's drawing attention over here, and this is going to potentially keep these players in line. Sean Gares now holding close to connector, but they do get spotted out, and then it's just the slaughter.
The meat grinder, definitely in effect. And Semphis, I believe he was 12-6 the last time I saw, so he's definitely starting to pick things up. There we go, 15-6 now. Nothing on 7. I'm quite curious if he's going to drop 100 frags in this best of 3. Because he got 38 in the first one, right? And then he got 30 in the second game.
Came close. I mean, it's possible.
Doable, yeah.
It's possible. The thing is that he needs to get more rushes towards long right now. Like, they aren't coming, they aren't really giving him too many opportunities, right? So we need to see more of that there. The perfect nade. No, not really doing the damage. Stemvis can't quite line them up, so Huiten is going to be able to trade there pretty effectively. And now into a 4-on-4 situation, and they are on the hunt right now. They are looking for Shazam, who is now pinned down. He's got that AWP, but he has to watch his back.
And he's just going to turn around at the right time as Pyth is going to even the odds there in that exchange. But Shazam has given his team the player advantage. It was looking pretty bad for Cloud9 at one point, but fairness to them, they've bounced back in the best possible way, and that really just has been this entire best of 3 in a nutshell. Both teams backwards and forwards like a seesaw of Counter-Strike action. 55 seconds just about on the board. Lots of time to play with. Cloud9 trying to dig in deep here. Got a pretty split approach. In fact, look at this. Nothing going very aggressive here on the defense side. Trying to get all the information, calling that to his team. And this is allowing Sean Guest to actually stay on B because he realizes, look, there's no way they're pushing A. They must be around halls. This is such good play for nothing.
Just so much info, you're right. And then on top of that, if one of these guys gets caught out, he's going to be able to just come in so quickly behind them. I mean, look at this position right now. This is flawless. He spots one, gets a bit ahead of himself, actually. He could have scoped out the more, but he's still going to be able to pick up those 2 kills. Very clean work there by Nothing with the backstab.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. That information's so important. And now Team Orbit have a bit of an uphill struggle. What kind of round amount would you be happy with right now if you Team Orbit on T side?
On T side, I would say if they can get one more, 10-5. Like, if they can get up to 5 rounds, I think that they would be fairly comfortable. 11-4 would still be kind of pushing it. I think that Cloud9 could feel a bit more comfortable with 11-4. But if they get up to 10-5, I think Orbit will be perfectly fine. So right now, that is what this is all about at this point. Stemvis with a very nice double spray down. He does not get overwhelmed this time. They were just wrapping around. Pyth running, going with that Tech 9. And look at that, it's AD glory. I mean, oh, and then the AWP shot from Pyth as well. It's insult to injury.
Illy gets the second time of asking, but already this is not terrible from Team Orbit considering. And there's still a minute on the time, so Pyth could potentially pull this one off. He's only got 9 HP, and he's caught them on the side. Nothing. Looking in the same position as Shroud, that was a bit interesting, to be fair. I'd have expected them to kind of, watch opposite directions and try and lock A down. And that's given Pyth a one-on-one. And he's already clutched so many rounds today, you cannot write this guy off. 5 seconds now. Needs to pick that bomb up desperately. And he's got Shroud up against him on 100 HP. Has himself a defuse kit and a smoke grenade. Pyth really checking every nook, every cranny to try and find that Shroud. He must guess, though, that Shroud is on A. This is kind of the best position to actively cover multiple areas at once, and Pyth has called it. He said, yep, probably on A. I'm going to try and do the old bait and switch here, but he's only got 14 seconds to play with. This is cutting it really fine. And now Shroud knows he's going to be chasing. He will just about get the plant down, will Pyth, but he's left himself in a precarious position. He has the AWP. Can he get the flick shot? Yes, he can! And Pyth gets another clutch. I said Jumpy was the clutch king. I'm not so sure. Pyth might be taking that crown.
I think he's challenging the title, man. That is just another one. You don't even want, you just want to stay still, not move, not do anything that could mess with that perfect situation of a 1v1 playing out. I thought he cut it way too close there as well. Yeah. Towards the end, I'm like hesitating with the smoke. Just throw it and run. But he played it just perfectly there, Pyth. Great shots with the AWP as well. So, man, what a round. And there you go. We're talking about how many rounds they need. I mean, up to 5 rounds on an eco round, no less. That's going to deal a big blow to Cloud9's economy as well. They're going to have to spend a lot of money to re-up after that. It's real problematic. And Shazam misses that shot onto Maxi.
Big shot as well. That is taking down your counterpart's AWP. That's a pretty crucial kill, and he pays for that one. In fact, it's actually Semfist that pays for that mistake. And these are the kills that really pile up, especially in the third map. When things get tense, those are the kills that can make or break a round for your team.
Certainly. And Semfist is also a player who might express some discomfort as well at that turn of events, to put things lightly, right? So Shazam, one thing he does right, though, is he does get the revenge frag. And that's what needed to happen there in that scenario. We're back into a 4-on-4, but before I can finish that sentence, Nothing and Shroud each pick up a frag and bring it into a 4-on-2. Bomb is making its way towards the site eventually, but Shazam holding the angle on drop room, not going to let Jumpy out of there, and it's down to Pyth once again. 1v3, and this is his time to shine, but not this time, says Shazam. Not this time. Triple kill for him in the round, and Cloud9 stabilize.
they do stabilize. But Team Orbit, they're still going to be pretty happy with this position. If they can pick up one of these next couple rounds, they'll be very, very happy indeed. It's not going to be this one, though. Well, I say that. You never quite know with Tech-9s. It's likely not going to be this round. They've got Tech-9s, they've got the P250. They will be able to buy up next round, whatever happens here. They obviously want that plant as well. Molotov actually early thrown through drop there. Will stop the push just for now.
And actually did some damage to Rogue as well, I'm surprised.
Wow, this molly spam is real right now. 2 in halls.
This is Cloud9 for you, though. They're all about the Molotovs. If they can afford the Molotovs, they're buying Molotovs, they're using Molotovs. This is how they practice. And so that's also a weakness that they can have, because if they don't have the Molotovs to rely on, it can get a little tricky for them. You know, they're out of their comfort zone.
But a snowstorm descends upon nothing with those flashbangs, but it doesn't matter. He manages to keep himself alive with that P2000 clicking to his heart's content and does get the final frag. Nice round from Cloud9 and nothing. And now Team Orbit will be buying up, and they'll be looking to take the 9-6 scoreline.
Really impressed with nothing as well. Just a few rounds ago, we were looking at it. It's like he's at 7-8 rounds, 7-8 kills, and he doubles that now in the space of a couple rounds. Like, okay, up to 14. He's interested in trying to crack that number, but he's going to have a terrific remaining, well, run throughout the second half if he's to do it. We'll see. A decent enough buy here from Team Orbit, actually. Fresh smoke down, look toward connector, and that was a very close call. Jumpy nearly picked that up.
Oh, look at this. Very aggressive play from Shazam, and he gets punished there. Oh, Semphis gets the upper hand on Maxi as he actually turns around at the worst possible moment from his perspective. A 1-for-1 trade. This will likely be happier news for the T's, but that doesn't matter as nothing again. He's hungry for those 100 frags that we were talking about before. He's got him 15th of this map. And Team Orbit, again, this kind of stalled, stilted approach comes back. They're trying to rotate towards B. Again, Huyton is going to be that interference, the decoy, and try and keep a couple of those North American players locked down on A site. But it doesn't look like they're buying it right now.
No, in fact, this has been a pretty solid rotation now. It's just Semphis holding that line into apartments. At this point, they should be even thinking about just rotating off. 30 seconds left. Not a sound has been made on this A site from the 2 remaining members from Team Orbit. This is just going to be them committing to the push, committing to that angle, and Shroud keeps his cool and controls his spray, does exactly what he needs to do in that scenario.
Cool, calm, collected, 10-5 at halftime. And Team Orbit, I'd say they'd be happy, but then again, they were, what, 4-0 up at one stage? So maybe hoping for more.
No, I think they were up 3-0, and then
3-0, then 3-1.
And then 4.
Right, got you.
It was like all over the place. It's crazy, man. It's wild.
That's pretty much just been the, you could put that as the tagline to this best of 3.
Wild.
Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Pyth, I'd say he's been the standout player for me. I think it's fair to say on Team Orbit.
I mean, him, Jumpy, I mean, it seems like everybody's had their times to shine. I mean, Maxi has been doing very good work with that AWP, but Pyth, the key rounds, he just does it, but he does it in such like a wow fashion, like just such an explosive fashion, just these decisive headshots, like one click, bam, dead, one click, bam, dead, and then it's just like 1v2, 1v3, whatever, I'll take on the world, I don't care. Like, Pyth has really impressed me so far with this play in this best of 3. I hope to see more of this throughout the tournament, or throughout the group phase.
I mean, Roken and Huyton have done their job as well, but let's cut back to the action as drop down seems to be the place of choice for Cloud9 as well in this pistol round, as bullets missing all over the place. Grenade was thrown in, very nearly ends Semphis' life. Escapes with 7 HP. That could be enough to actually tip the scales in Cloud9's favor. Rogue will, however, even it up. Shazam takes out a quality, flushes it down the toilet, and that will be the T's now pushing onto A. They will get this plant as well. And Orbit have it all to do here, especially as nothing gets the beautiful headshot across to Pyth. Jumpy is a great clutcher, but this may be a bit too much to ask from him. Nearly gets the second kill there, but look at Semphis' position. He's ready to pounce, and there we go. Easy from Cloud9. 11-5.
Yeah, very clear. I mean, that's like Semphis is the man that makes the round there practically, because he's sitting in that drop-down room and he hears the rotations coming in through B, from B through to connector, through to A. He just knows where that last man is at all times. So he's the guarantee. Even if they lose a couple players on the A site, even if they were to lose both players on the A site, the fact that Semphis is there walking in from behind on connector is just, that's the guarantee, the ace in the hole for Cloud9 in that round. So there we have it. Cloud9, it's the perfect start for the second half. They get that 10-5 finish, and then they pick up the pistol as well. So they are now 5 rounds away from moving on to the winner match in this group.
It's a triple scout buy-up, though, from Orbit. High risk, high reward from them. And so far, it's paying out pretty decently. They need to get another frag, though, and try and tip the scales back in their favor. And nothing is saying a resounding no to that statement. Now it's all on Huiten with the scout pushing in from drop down.
Similar strategy. This is what Cloud9 did in their second round as well,
Yeah.
the triple scout buy. That's decisive. Okay, nothing.
That's pretty much just a foot being stamped down. I was going to say that Huiten I feel it's difficult for him to shine as like a carry player because he typically plays a lot of flanking roles.
Yeah, he's
always
exactly
playing interference, and it's difficult to make a huge impact unless you get like 2 or 3 frags by yourself. And Roke is a very good defensive player. I've noticed this on Cash in particular. His defense on A was absolutely sublime. He consistently locked down sites. As you said, everyone's pulled their weight. Huiten, aforementioned flanker, has got himself on the scoreboard of this round, but Shroud is going to answer back in the only way that Cloud9 want him to, and that's with the fragment zone. There's Semphis opening things up. Maxi, though, is going to take it back into a 3v3. The bomb's been planted, and Sean Gares and nothing. I'm going to bring it to all on Huiten. He's coming in with a 5-7. He's got 100% remaining, but this is going to be so difficult for him to pull off. He's going to be chilling out in drop down. He must know that nothing is very close by lurking, and they're going to come head to head. He does get that kill, and he will keep the AK-47 as well. Oh, no, he's not. He's going to re-peek and get killed by Sean Gares.
Yeah, he couldn't make it past there, I guess, or you just wanted to do more damage. Yeah. But good kill there onto nothing, at least. I mean, that forces Cloud9 past the drop point into somebody actually having to really spend a lot of their money. I mean, Shazam is going to go up to that AWP. He was sure of that as well because he had been holding back, not buying rifles, just sticking with the Kevlar, getting a couple nades, and upgrading a pistol, right? So him dying, they can kind of throw Shazam into those situations and use him as bait just to get information, right, as to the setup of Team Orbit. Because they know he's going to have the money to buy the AWP here. Great early flashes, though, to force Maxi back. And that is Cloud9 starting to get a little bit of map control here.
I really feel like the experience is starting to shine through as well from Cloud9.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. You know, like, it has been such a close series through and through. I mean, Cloud9, they're 3 rounds away. But those 3 rounds, T-side overpass, or not overpass, cobblestone, my mistake, can be just, you know, hell on earth. So we'll see if they can actually clutch it right now. Because if they can win this one round, they pretty much win the map.
How important this round is right now. And Team Orbit, after that first map victory, will be so desperate to cling on, tooth and nail, to keep this dream alive. The Swedes on CT, digging themselves in deep, digging themselves into their foxholes, trying to keep this blitzkrieg at bay. It seems like Cloud9 are just on the point, just on that precipice of pushing in super aggressively. Here we go. Going to start to move out of halls. It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. That man, once again, Shazam with the AWP, rings out, nothing comes in, gets himself the AK-47 frag, and a second one as well. And Maxi is really in no man's land with that AWP. This is going to be a super difficult round for him to clutch. He's got to get a pick very quickly. And as you said, this is a round that could make or break the entire best of 3.
If Maxi shows himself on that bomb site, I'm going to go and unplug his mouse. Like, this is the right play for him to be doing right now. Hold on to that AWP. He's actually going into like the biggest troll position ever. This is great. T-side sniper. Get in that tower, bro. I'm sure a lot of people are having some flashback horror story memories. Like, you know, it's just like they're going to start trembling a little bit. Whoa, they actually peek it. Oh, no, he gives it up. I think they're too far away to punish him, though.
Shaking his head in embarrassment.
He had that shot, but you saw the peak. You saw the peak. They knew where he was. That was perfect. Okay, but now this is it. You know, it's basically what do they have? Team Orbit. They have a FAMAS that Maxi's going to be able to drop, but the rest of them are going to be just squeaking by with 5-7 in armor.
Yeah, 5-7 armor.
Wait, where did they get all this money all of a sudden?
Other FAMAS.
2. I saw 3150.
bonus.
How the hell did that happen? Okay. Oh, because they're skimping on the Kevlar helmet. That's why. Okay.
Yeah. Just about scraping by with this weaponry coming in. Here we go, pushing through halls right now. Molotov precedes them, nothing. Again, getting all the entries in the world. Semphis comes up huge. And Team Orbit, they're going to be staring 10 match points if they can't claw back this 3v4 situation. Bomb's been planted. Jumpy is going to be living up to his name, trying to get through that smoke, but Shazam and Sean Gares come in and nothing gets the final one. And Team Orbit also forced that buy, so their economy is good enough to buy some weapons, but nowhere near fantastic.
Yeah, having lost so many rounds in a row, essentially. They're going off of that at this point. FAMAS is just barely managing to squeak by. Decent enough, actually, to have, you know, some rifles, but very limited nades. In Cloud9, they have everything they need. They have the Molotovs, as I was saying. They even go so far as to have that double AWP. So things are about to get nasty here. Are they going to be able to find a pick early? And yes, they will. Sean Garris is going to catch Maxia lurking in that corner in the halls. That new hallway, or I can't even say new anymore, but the hallway linking, you know, halls from A to B. On the T side. Xemphis now taking a peek towards this bomb site, and he gets the second frag, takes out Pyth.
It's just not looking too good right now. Team Orbit maybe starting to circle the drain. Trying desperately to pull this one back. They've got plenty of time, but they're just lacking in manpower. Jumpy is completely outmanned and outgunned on this situation, and he does fall. Cloud9 take Cobblestone very comfortably in the end, 16-5 and 2-1 overall.
Look at the reaction from Cloud9. I mean, they're not out of the groups. That's already, you know, they're in that winner match now, but they know that could have been a much cleaner series, I think. So that's something that they're going to have to keep in mind. They have to keep their cool and immediately go to like break, get some food in them, and just like talk over what exactly happened at the beginning of this series, because that was definitely way too bumpy, considering you know, this is such a high caliber team.
Yeah, it just kind of seems like more relief to me than happiness, just because of how incredibly close that game was at some points. But you know, as you say, they got the all-important W. That's all that counts, really, at the end of the day. Yeah, and they progressed through to the next match in a much better position than they could have been.
And they will be going on to face off against VP if the brackets play out correctly. This is Group B. This is the group match, or the group match that got delayed from last night, actually, to you know, push back until 10 o'clock this morning to catch up on the schedule. So they will be going on to the winner match versus Virtus Pro. That means that Orbit will be playing against Team Infused. And that is actually, I think that's going to be just as good as what we just saw here between these two teams. I think that's going to be a very even match, because Team Infused, they nearly caught VP off guard. They didn't take the wins, but they certainly got more than enough rounds on the board for VP to feel like they were a threat.
I mean, they got 20 rounds off them over 2 maps, and that's not too shabby at all. I mean, some of the top tier teams wouldn't maybe pull that off right now. So
exactly. Well, it's not what you expect to see from VP. You expect to see them just roll.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's not a top 5 team that they're facing, they should be, you know, the team to make it through, right?
I think a lot of people were expecting kind of 16-1, 16-2 scorelines when Infused met VP. So you never quite know. Again, it's that kind of unknown factor. I think it's very difficult to scout Infused if you're one of these top tier teams, because they don't play a huge amount. And I mean, I've cast a lot of the UK scene, and they often have stand-ins. They often maybe even have roster changes here, there, and everywhere. So they're such a difficult team to know what they bring to the table.
No, that's the element of surprise, right?
Yeah.
And they also use a sixth man as a caller. So it's a bit of a blade style from, you know, Hellraisers from DreamHack Winter, when Blade was basically, you know, moving his team around like pawns. Infused do the same thing. They have a 6-man behind them calling the shots and giving them input round after round. So that might be something that VP, you know, might have to deal with, or they did deal with that, but now it's going to be something that Orbit have to keep in mind. But let's go ahead now and hear what the analysts have to say. Scoots, take it away.
Thank you very much, guys. Wow. That was some good Counter-Strike. That was close.
Eventful.
I was very nervous about Cloud9 on that one, and they pulled it off.
Well, that's kind of the way the pre-game analysis was. Like, they were primed for the potential upset, but we also saw, like, when you're a real team and you've got international experience and proper players, you're supposed to win a game like Cobblestone. That's not a map for mixed teams or players with stand-ins, etc. The first map was very exciting, though. The fact that Cloud9 even came close to that was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, OT, gotta love that. So we've got a couple replays we're going to kind of show you guys and kind of walk through. So we're just going to kind of walk through these replays and highlights like one at a time. So we're going to start with map 1. Obviously, again, as we talked about during the pregame, and what we always talk about with this team is Jordan, nothing, Gilbert has to play. Has to be that guy.
This map especially. Remember, Cloud9 lost this map. They lost it in overtime, but the only reason they were even in this map is because Nothing went crazy and had like 50 kills over the whole map. Like in the first half, I think they only lost something ridiculous, like 7-8 or 6-9, and yet there's one point in the game, I remember looking at the scoreboard, he had like 14 or 15 kills. The next guy had like 4. And they were getting totally dominated, but he was winning 1v4s, 1v3s. The fact that they could have won this series 2-0 was just like all on his back. I think for the overall series, he was something like almost 100 kills for the whole series.
I mean, that's as good as I've seen Nothing play in CS. And what was interesting, I think, was his reaction. I mean, he was furious that they lost that first map, that he'd had that performance. And, you know, we saw him when he was out there. He was pumped. I mean, he was really angry. And, you know, who can blame him? You know, like you say, he tried to put the team on his back, and when it didn't come off. But this is, again, why, you know, the best of 3 series is so important, because, you know, Cloud9, if this was best of 1, Cloud9 are already
they're
struggling.
Gone.
They're gone,
No, that's a great example of why best of 3 is valuable, because, Cloud9 would be out, and yet if you're Nothing, you'd feel like I did everything right, and that's it. But you give them a full series, and after that, it wasn't particularly close, actually.
Yep.
Inferno was very convincing for Cloud9, and then they were just always cruising. They were always in control of the cobblestone, and so you saw the value of having the 3 maps if you can. And obviously, later on, we're going to see some great games because of best of 3.
I almost feel as well what was important about the with just watching these replays.
Puts it into overtime on this one.
Was you know, it was almost as if usually. Sometimes I've seen teams like when one guy performs and everyone doesn't, and he gets angry about it. You know, that could be actually quite a negative thing. What happened here was the rest of Cloud9 seemed to feed off Jordan's performance. You know, guys that you wouldn't expect a 30 frag performance from, like Semphis, you know, showing up on Cobble.
Yeah.
And you know, Duncan, I think, has been critical of him in the past. You know, and perhaps rightly so. But yeah, Jordan definitely seemed to be, you know, the guy who turned up this morning and set the tone and said, guys, are we here to play some Counter-Strike, or are we going to go out in the groups again? And, you know, like Duncan rightly points out, the next 2 maps are very convincing, but it all seems that the catalyst was that there, you know, like Jordan kind of just saying, this is the level we all need to be at, and people
the thing
raise their game.
When you say that, that's a key point for Cloud9. Now that Titan dropped out, now that Orbit's here and they're not favoured to get out, if Cloud9 went out in the groups again this time, that would be so brutal. And also, because of the double elimination format of the group, you've got a pretty decent chance you could be seeing this game again in the last match of the group. Could be a rematch between the 2. So which maps will they pick? Will Orbit steer away from Cobblestone, make sure that's not in? Will Cloud9 still dare to play them on cash? You might get to see this match again as the final match, assuming Cloud9 don't beat out who's in their group. Virtus Pro. As long as they can't beat Virtus Pro, then it'll be a rematch. Or maybe we get to see Orbit against Virtus Pro. We'll see.
I mean, for me, like Cloud9, if they are going to have a good showing at a tournament, this is going to be the one where they do it, because
this is the crazy. I'm going to interrupt you. This is to win it. Pyth 1v3. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you know, we're talking a lot about Cloud9 right now. We definitely need to mention Orbit and Pyth in particular, who I thought, you know. Yeah. What a game he's had, and there was a lot of people, you know, putting pressure on him. I mean, just look at this, insane 1-bullet shots, and then just you know, to get into a 1v1 situation and get the bomb down is incredible. You think, well, even if he loses this, it's still been a pretty sick play. Holds his nerve, and you can see from where he's looking, he's got no clue where the last man is. Absolutely no.
Tucks in. This is perfect.
Yeah. Then just uses the sound and dink 1 bullet. I mean, you know, incredible play from him. But you know, there's a lot of question marks about him. I think, you know, people were saying, you know, is he going to turn up at this LAN event? How's he going to perform? And yeah, he was a standout player for Orbit in a lot of ways. You know, I thought he was.
Yeah.
Really
definitely.
Good.
This is a team to definitely look out for. There's no doubt about it. They stay together. They start traveling more. Get on the circuits, if you will. Like.
One impressed me as well is, you know, we talked about how Jumpy was coming in from 1.6 and that he was going to be like the in-game leader. Jordan with it. Yeah, mad spray down with all those headshots. But, you know, Jumpy actually seemed to be calling like pretty good tactics, you know, for Orbit. They didn't seem out of it tactically, you know. Sure, they lacked that bit of experience, that little bit of polish, certainly on Cobblestone. I'm pretty sure they've probably dedicated no time to that map. But, you know, on Cash and Inferno, you could see they already had a very good idea about what they needed to be doing, and it was only that experience that really got Cloud9 sort of through it.
Great round by Maxi on this one.
Yeah, but just you know, I mean, a real good game, and like there's good signs there for all. But you know, if they do play Cloud9 again, and that's what I was just going to say just before we went to it. If Cloud9 are going to get through a group and have a good showing at a tournament, they couldn't have asked for a better group. Titan drop out, Team Orbit come in at short notice. You've got Infuse, the UK whipping boys. They're here for a day out. Let's be honest about it. And then you got Virtus Pro with a stand-in. If Cloud9 cannot step up in this group and get out of this group, there's even an argument to say that because of Virtus Pro having a stand-in, that Cloud9 should be thinking about.
If you're really good, there should be a chance. Especially because when it's best of 3, you can always make the excuse like, oh, it was the wrong map, we started the wrong side. In best of 3, that's not a case. That's the best of 1 excuses there. So if you don't make it out against a weaker team, and even the team that was the favoured one in your group, they're a little bit weakened because they've got the stand-in. That's when you're supposed to make it out. Is when you've got all those things in
and
place.
As we talked about, Stemfist came up big in Cobble, and I think you made a very valid point, Duncan, that like Team Orbit is not in the realm of playing a lot of cobblestone right now. So that definitely leans to all of these teams like a Virtus Pro or Cloud9 that are forced to it, all these major circuits, etc. It's a map that's in the pool, right? So they're definitely well versed in it. If this third map ends up being anything else, totally different.
Absolutely. It was an ace in the hole for Cloud9 here, because you can only, when you're a new team, you only want to get a handle on the basics, your Infernos, your Just Twos. This is what you want to have down pat because they're the ones that are likely to come up. Cash as well is obviously a big deal. But I felt, if that had been any of the map, like a Mirage, for example, or something, that could have been ridiculous. That could have been, insane.
I mean, Orbit have played some cobblestone, but the key thing as well is they don't have lands that they play together. They've only played the odd few time, or the core that they had before played some lands. But that's another aspect of it. It's very different to play a map that you've only played online. You've never got to play it offline properly. Because then, what really is your go-to position that you hold on this spot when it's not working for you, When you're online, it's a lot freer, in that particular sense.
A couple more replays here.
Yeah, this is Pyth again. Low HP with the AWP.
And, obviously this means that Infused and Orbit are going to play. One's going home, and Cloud9's going to take on Virtus Pro, and they always bring good matches with each other. I'm excited for that one too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just on this performance alone, you can see Orbit. They're not here to make up the numbers. These are good players, and Infused. As much as I would love to root for the home team, and I know all of those players, I've got nothing but respect for them. Orbit are a cut above, and then Infused are going to find it very hard. I think Orbit are already, got the flip flops on. Use the football phrase. They know they're home.
The team that showed up in this game, if this Orbit shows up, they will be. It should be a done deal.
Yeah, no debate about it. But yeah, I mean, this was an epic encounter. This Shroud and Pyth. Well, Pyth was in a low HP situation against Rifles with an AWP. He already flanked him, made a pick there on nothing. And this was again, it showed that he had that game sense, that awareness, and he was, like I say, had a real solid performance for me. Definitely, and this is a real tense situation, potential game-changing situation. Gets that round there right to take them to 5. So, I thought Pyth was great for them, and again, it just shows that even in the mixed teams, they've got players that are international caliber that can make that step up, and if they do, they're going to be able to rattle the cage of teams like Cloud9 and even higher, further up the pecking order.
Update on the other matches that are going on. Obviously, our next big match, and we're going to talk about it in depth after our commercial break, is obviously this possible final in its own right of any tournament.
Might even be the final of this tournament.
Nev and Envious. But I just got word. Property is up 12-7, and they're playing Gamers 2. And again, that's a lower bracket match, so loser's going to go home. I think that's the first map. I'm pretty sure. So, any final thoughts on the Cloud9 Orbit match?
Overall, I actually was it's funny that they almost totally blew the first map, because overall I was a little bit impressed by Cloud9, actually. They looked pretty solid. Like, they actually had it together. In general, aside from nothing having almost 100 kills, otherwise it wasn't like one person really letting the team down and that's the guy that's going to lose the series. They looked pretty well-rounded. I'm very interested, because of the stand-in situation, to see them against Virtus Pro, because like you say, those two teams always matched up well. That was a good matchup war, and that was with the real rosters. So, hey, they can win a map of Virtus Pro. That's not impossible. So, Cloud9 looking pretty decent so far. Orbit primed for the upset. They did what they could. So that's why I like the double elim thing. I want to see if they match again, what can happen next time, because then we'll really see if Orbit was just a one-off on that map or whether they can actually win a series.
And again, folks, you can see our standings. You probably can't read them here, but they're going to put them on the big screen for you. But basically, as we've talked about, Virtus Pro is taking on Cloud9 here, Group B standings. Infused takes on Orbit. And then obviously winner-loser play to go back up, and that's it.
The final game,
The final game. So more good Counter-Strike. Again, 2 streams going as well. Gfinity TV and Gfinity TV2 on Twitch and simulcast on MLG as well. So all this action is happening. Let's quickly talk about the matches we weren't watching. But obviously Envious, 2-0'd, Property.
Yep.
And 16-11 first map, 16-0 shutout the second map.
You've got to say that is hugely impressive because Property are no joke. I know they're a mixed team. They got a very solid roster, and we didn't know, what kind of Envious we were going to get. We highlighted that game at the start of the show, and I think we were all in agreement that was a potential banana skin. Yeah. And Envious haven't just got past the first hurdle. I mean, they've cleared it with some distance. Interestingly enough, they're in the player lounge now. Most of them asleep. I don't know if that's just because they were tired, they didn't get a lot of sleep last night, or to conserve some energy.
Tired.
Yeah, but it was a hugely impressive performance, and that's exactly the kind of thing they want to be doing. It's a statement of intent. They're in a very tough group.
Yeah.
And I think when we looked at Property, we were like, wow, that's a cat among the pigeons. How's that going to go? Great play by Envious, and coming up against Nip, fresh from a final in Poland. I think that's going to be a great game. I mean, that's got the potential to be one of the series, of the tournament. And as Duncan rightly points out, that could be the final that we're looking at, come the end.
Absolutely. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. Again, we're going to take a short commercial break, folks. And when we come back, we will start talking about this amazing best of 3 we got coming up. And again, this could be a best of 1 at any other tournament. So we're, like you said, we're seeing a nice...
You get a free potential
free
final here.
final.